everyone. Hi, everyone. How are we doing? It's good to see you all. How are volumes? I'm not gonna lie, I'm still eating my hash browns. Just rushing everything. So sorry. I know I've missed friends in chat. Noob, Nisha, welcome in. Welcome in, new friend. Good. Thank you, Chica. So sorry to be eating before more friends arrive, right? I hope they're not laughing at me if they're looking. Hash browns, hashies, my staple of my diet. Just realized that the light is not on. How is everybody today? Answer the question while I get up. Okay, just in case, because it is raining, snowing, sleeting, whatever you want to call it outside. All of the above. Mr. Cooper, welcome in, and Cutesy here. Good, Kenai. I do have them up, but I can't chat because I don't have a freaking cell phone number attached to my account. So, welcome in. Good morning, everyone. Redeems are very limited, but we still got some. And I actually was kind of really fussing just now. I went and lowered all the commands. I totally forgot to do that. We don't want that as well. Sad to say. I should probably do that for hugs. Sad to say, my dear friends. I love our wonderful sounds, but for the important stuff, right? So let me do that. How are we feeling? How are we doing this Wednesday? We're halfway there. Who here is working towards the weekend like I am? Who here is excited for Women's History Month, International Women's Day, Uplifting Women Unite? I'm really excited. Oh, hello! Hi! Waiting on a miracle. Welcome in, raiders. Did you hear the raid sound? I hope we all heard the beautiful, lovely Mirabelle from Encanto. Welcome in, everyone. I just realized if I hide the GIFs, we won't actually see the GIF alerts of our follow alerts. I'm rushed a little bit this morning. I'm so sorry for the tech issues. We do hear the sounds of all the wonderful follows. Thank you so much. Carly, Stella, thank you so much for the raid, bringing in all of these wonderful, wonderful streamers, friends, viewers, supporters of women and all gender diverse people. We have a lot to celebrate today. You can see the presentation going. Grax, hi Grax. I didn't turn down those sounds. I was just going through and turning down a bunch of sounds that I thought I had gotten before stream that I thought I got last night. I am missing things in chat. I will catch up. Let's spend some time to just kind of settle in. This will give our dear Carly Stella, a chance to maybe decompress, deal with the tech issues, go breathe, maybe raid and run for a moment. I highly encourage that. Welcome in all raiders. Please be kind to take care of the self-care. It's super important for everyone, so we could just kind of just ease into things. I was just sharing, I haven't even finished my hash browns. My bangs are just barely dry a little bit. I'm growing them out. I've been saying this the past month, so if I mess with them a little bit. But I didn't even pull up the welcome raiders side. There we go. It covers our thing. I don't like it anymore. I'm like, no, there's no place for it. We'll squish it down. It's not as important as the rest. Something like that. Astronomy can be covered up. You gather that's what you're here for today. I'm sweet. We do a lot of co-working. Stardew Valley, modded Stardew. I love Hello Kitty. It was gifted to me from a dear friend. And other cozy gaming. And we are going to get back into our felting streams come April. Oh, thank you for gifting a sub to Carly Stella. Thank you so much. I am fundraising for children once again for National Children's Alliance in April. So I'm going to actually combine getting back into felting streams with that for the month of April. But let's focus on all of you here in this moment. I have done many presentations. What seems like a lifetime ago. A lifetime ago. Let me get rid of this now. And so one thing that I can just kind of preface for you to expect coming up is I have a quick outline for all of you, just so you know what we're going to dive into. But there are going to be parts where I want to hear from you, either your opinions or your experiences or your thoughts, your questions, anything of that nature. Now, in discussing women in astronomy and adversity, we're not going to be discussing astronomy, the science itself. If you have questions on some of the phrasing, I really just did my best to just simmer down the what we call in the Trek world technobabble. We're gonna get to Trek too at the end. Hi Paglo, hi mods. I really want to take a chance to acknowledge everyone in chat. We have a thing here where all my thoughts are carts on a train, and I try not to get derailed. So finishing what I was just saying, we'll move into the presentation. There'll be parts where I want to hear from you, and then in the end, we'll see how much time we have, whether I can unveil a demo of a brand new game that I actually have the full key for, or just prepare for the next wonderful stream. So before we truly dive in to our presentation, let's talk about UWU, Uplifting Women Unite. Meg from Family Guy. So I'm a big Family Guy fan. We're fans of Ghibli and Trek and so many other fandoms. But Meg from, oh my gosh, talk about women getting beaten down and oppressed by their own family members, let alone society. Meg. So yes, we have a lot of our sounds are randomized. So if you hear, random women, thank you for the lurk. Thank you. I want to discuss UWU and then acknowledge everyone in chat, which I don't know if OBS will let me scroll that much. I just realized, oh dear. There's your Dratini in chat. Oh my gosh. One of the lovely streamers, part of UWU, is all about Dratini, had a cute little Dratini gift and a plushie. So Uplifting Women Unite. This is their third annual year. This is my first time being part of this wonderful experience. I've had the pleasure of being, a viewer, a chatter, making new friends, hearing wonderful, lovely conversations and experiences of so many gender diverse friends and people. And also, in a little bit, getting to be a train sitter has been a privilege and an honor, just helping along, making sure everyone is having a smooth, good time. So, I want to give a Purple Heart shouty to Carly. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I wasn't chatting, as you can understand. I was getting ready for this. Please go check out Carly. And I know that, we'll just wonderfully meet so many more people. UWU is continuing through the weekend. So at any point in time, you can use !UWU. We've had this all week, since last week. I really enjoyed your stream today. I was on super low volume, but you had amazing conversations, and I love the gaming. It was a wonderful stream, for sure. We got the Dratini. Awesome. Also, International Women's Day, March 8th, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me. I always welcome people to do that. Constructive criticism. I will never do better. I will never learn from my mistakes. If I didn't notice it, point it out. It's coming up, and this raid train is in celebration of that, but the fight for gender equity is much more expansive and touches the lives of everyone. So there is a link there to learn more about International Women's Day. I highly encourage anyone to either read the link themselves or share that on your platforms. It's really important that we continue to uplift all of the media and content that we can share with each other. It's the internet. We can share a lot for now. Let's continue that. On that note, though, it is also Women's History Month. It used to be a week-long celebration, if you didn't know, and then I think it was 1978. 1978? Did I write the full date? It's the late 1970s, where it became a full month passed by Congress, full month to honor and celebrate the resilience and achievements of women in all marginalized genders. That is what this month should all be about. So there are some examples in chat and how we can uplift gender diversity within our society. But a little note, we can do that every single day of the year. We don't need one day, 1 week, 1 month out of all the years that we have on this globe. So, ready to learn so much. I have so much. And then I rewarded myself. I'm going to say this. Allow me to be a little fangirl right in the end. Let's have a little really high positive note right in the end. It's going to be really wonderful. And last but not least, on that note of gender diversity, supporting equity and inclusion for all diverse peoples, this Raid Train event, Uplifting Women Unite, is supposed to remind us to celebrate all marginalized genders, and that also includes uplifting and connecting and listening to queer folk, trans women, people of color, individuals with disabilities, and any other, all marginalized identities that intersect within our communities and our lives and our societies and our cultures. It's so, so important. So important. 1987? Ooh, thank you for looking that up. Maybe I'm thinking of it becoming the week-long celebration in 1978. Done a lot of research, and we're going to get to a disclaimer after I show you, and let's see how this goes. It's been a while since I've done a presentation. Let's move right on into it, everyone, and I do apologize for missing all the wonderful friends in chat. I can only scroll up in OBS so far. But before we move on, let me say thank you for your time. And let me encourage you to take breaks, stay hydrated, get snacks if you need to. We're really big on self-care here and self-advocacy at the Sweet Wild Streams. It's really important to us. So if you need to take a break, you need to lurk. We have commands for that. But also if you need to just, in general, walk away for a moment from the keyboard for any reason whatsoever, we support that too. We're going to rate out on time at noon to our next wonderful target. So that gives you an idea of just the support that you are allowed to experience here. You have the freedom to enjoy and be yourself here. So outline. This is what we're going to be diving into, sweethearts. Women in astronomy. Now, if anyone is a techie, if anyone likes history, if anyone likes data, if anyone likes research and learning, you know that there is a process to that learning, and that is often having to research and note take, and study and catalog things and all of that jazz. That's part of education and learning. Many of us have walked quite different various roads in different forms of education. So I make a little joke because astronomy, science, the titles can get a little long, but necessary language, intentful language is very, very vital. So I made a little cheeky title of An Incomplete List of Women Astronomers in Early Astronomical Human History. It sounds long. It's not going to be, I assure you. Let me move some things around because I realize I can't see chat. And if I'm missing things in chat, that's not good. Data manipulation, history. No, I love history. I love it all. Lexi, good morning. If I missed any of our regular sweethearts here in the Sweet Wild streams, I want to thank you because a lot of you have planned to be here, knew that this was happening. Really appreciate our Sweet Wild fam being here. And then also the extended families and communities of all the friends and streamers who are participating in the train. Let me just say that too. Thank you for your time being here. All the hugs. We have hugs here. We have a lot of animations. I turned them off because we're doing presentations. We have a lot of sweet, wonderful redeems, a lot of daily collectibles, a lot that are Stardew themed. Turned off for today, but come back any other time for wonderful co-working, funny redeems, old age stuff, all the normal stuff. You can work with numbers, but remembering data is really difficult. Dates is really difficult. Yeah, so I've had various data collection jobs, just spreadsheets, and then, having to write reports and analyses on that. So little cheeky title, an incomplete list of women astronomers and early astronomical human history. The second part of our presentation will be enduring astronomical adversity. So that's when we're going to talk about the stuff that we need to talk about, the stuff that we need to share in with each other, but also speak out and up for our communities and our friends and our loved ones and the betterment of society. So we're going to talk about that. Then in the end, we're going to be looking ahead. So the second part we're going to discuss, I want you all in on the conversation, and we'll continue that for the last final part of looking ahead, what and who inspires you to reach towards the stars, but also affect positive change for women and all marginalized genders in and on our world, for sure. So let's get into it. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. And there's various ways you can get my attention, usually emotes. I'm looking at those emotes. I love the little crunchy, the little tap dance. I use that a lot. Moving on, presenter view is very new to me. Canva has had significant upgrades in the last year and a half. This is the disclaimer I wanted to mention. In my research, part 2 of what I want to say in my disclaimer, when I applied to join the UWU raid train, I originally pitched one idea to the leaders, and as I begun working on that like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I realized that it wasn't going to be an appropriate topic, in part because it wasn't going to be on the notion of uplifting, but also I didn't feel well equipped to discuss that subject I originally wanted to present on. So I pivoted, and completely different subject, women in astronomy, and also similar in that subject, adversity as well. So on that disclaimer, this is an incomplete representation of women and gender diverse people within astronomy. It has to be said. It has to be said for the sake of our stream today. This is an incomplete list. The other thing is we encourage you to actively search and read about remarkable people who've made such wonderful, huge, significant contributions to our society, to technology and medicine and art and so much more. And the reason I mention that is we're going to come back to that later on in the presentation, because in the research of this subject, there was something in particular that I came across to bridge, and I think that it would be a really good conversation for us to have. So diving in, before astronomy institutions and societies, there's not a whole lot of women on the books. There's not. It's sad. In part because women were not allowed to study sciences, let alone astronomy. So there might be well-known scientists before these time frames that you see, but astronomers even fewer and farther between. But we still have a few. I have Purple Wolf. I have. It's a good movie. It is a good movie. One of the first ever known women astronomers was Katharina Elizabetha Koopman. Married young, was an assistant in an observatory, and in 1687, I apologize for my face cam covering this little part, in 1687 published a catalog of over 1,500 stars. Over 1,500 stars. That's in the 1600s. Brilliant mind. Brilliant mind. We have Carolyn Lucretion Herschel. You might recognize Carolyn Herschel when you think of women in astronomy. Top of the list. Right up there, top of the list, Carolyn Herschel. Assisted cataloging unknown stars and nebulae, made phenomenal observations and calculations of her own, specializing in galaxies, and went uncredited in her relatives' co-work, that she contributed over 6,000 celestial objects for. So, yeah. Give me one moment. I realized that I'm missing one part. I wanted to have one part to my presentation. It's so funny to me that it's just now 9:05. I think one thing I also forgot to mention is we are going to pause during ad breaks. We do 3 minutes of ads by the hour, so I'm not interrupted as much. I get really distracted, as you might notice. Welcome to the Sweet Wild Streams. Sweet Wild Cozy Chaos, basically. Okay. There we go. I wanted to have my backup notes just in case I needed like easier access. We're good. Back to presenter view. There we go. Awesome. There. We move on to Mary Fairfax. So now we're leaving the 1600s, 1700s. We're approaching 1800s of women contributing to astronomy in our human history. And I also still cannot see here. There we go. Blocking out chat. There we go. There we go. Yes, it's a lovely, lovely movie. So Mary Fairfax Somerville did huge, phenomenal research, and made quite a few publications in her own name, and she's just considered to be a pioneer in astronomy for her time. She is one of those few women who bridges that gap between the 1700s and 1800s for work. So it's super important that we recognize these individuals, because that centennial mark is huge in human history, since we are so cognizant of counting by the hundreds. We have Margaret Lindsay Huggins, and if anyone recognizes these names, if you're into astronomy, names, history, feel free to let us know. As I went through this research, I was sad that there were so few names that I recognized in my own research. I was like, oh, I should know more, and this is good for me to do. So her work was interesting because she specialized in basically the technology that helped telescopes. So the photographic and spectroscopic technology is what she worked on. So a little different than just studying the stars, but definitely studying the stars because she worked on the telescopes. She worked a lot on the Orion Nebula and really studied our own solar system. It's so important to study our planet and our solar system to understand our place within the universe. It's very important. Hi, Sarm. Hello. How are you? Welcome in, Sarm. Thank you for being here. I hope you had a lovely stream. Thank you so much. Yes, happy UWU. How are you, Sarm? Thank you so much for that. I'm going to give you a purple heart shouty. Thank you for that. Sarm is a lovely streamer. And if you haven't recognized them by now, thank you for the RSO. I did jump on the purple heart shouty. Did it? Oh, Entity did the RSO. I was like, I didn't do that. I love our mods. Sarm has been joining along the raid train since it started, either just viewing and or chatting along with all these lovely streams. Sarm is a wonderful human being. If you haven't checked out their streams yet, please drop a follow. Such a sweetheart. Thank you for the raid. I'm going to hydrate. That redeem is still there, sweethearts. I am going to yell at all of you. I'm going to yell at you. You're not taking care of Sweet. I do yell at our friends. I yell at the Sweet Wild fam for not hydrating me. Welcome in, Midwest Game Guy. Anyone else I have missed in chat that I have not acknowledged? It's not intentional. It's not intentional. Thank you, Entity. I've already yelled at you. All right. The hydrate. So I always drink mocha. Mocha coffee, iced coffee, frappes are my thing. The hydrate redeem, I top off with the water. So feel free to join us, everyone, if you also want to hydrate with us. You only hydrate every 2 hours? My goodness. Well, everybody's bodies are different, though. I like that name, Coffee Cup with a Nervous. I like that. Welcome in. We have just the daily sweet for our collectible today, but we do have many more daily collectibles otherwise for other streams. Finishing that one last little thought there before I derailed that last little segment. She wrote an atlas, no big deal. Wrote an atlas before 1900, the turn of the century. And I'm not sincerely downplaying her achievements or any one of them. I'm just trying to be a little funny. But I think one thing I should do is be cognizant of that and not even joke about it. But, the turn of the century, to write an atlas, so an atlas is so useful because it's not just reliant for scientists, but we're talking people who sail across the world. It's for consumerism as well. And even the farming agricultural fields will sometimes rely on atlases. So to write an atlas just before 1900 is a huge accomplishment. It's amazing. All of these achievements were amazing. Oop, skip. Let's back up. How far? There we go. Too many backups. I'm sorry, everyone. The presenter view is new to me, and I think the transition is throwing me off. There we go. So we're going to move into the 1800s, almost the 1900s at this point, with women who mapped the universe. And this is so specific in history of astronomy. You may have not really heard that term before, maybe in sentences that you're reading, but not as a title, not as a label for a group of women, which it should have always been. The reason I preface that is simply because what is well known is this group of astronomers, mathematicians, the first astronomer computers, essentially, the famous Pickering's harem. And I definitely drop my tone of voice in that because the stereotypes, the disbeliefs, just stigmas and restrictions and limitations continued despite the recognition that, women they can be more than just assistants. We can actually really value from utilizing their brain power. Like, this is actually a good thing. So despite that, everything else still persisted, the restrictions, the limitations, the desire to keep them restricted and limited. So I do write that they were not rightfully known as the women who mapped our universe. We'll read that as descriptive parts and sentences, but I have yet to read them as, this is the group of women that they were. This should be the label that we apply to, not Pickering's harem. But that's what they got back then in the 1800s. So let's dive in. These are very famous women in astronomy. Now we're getting into super famous people in astronomy. So Williamina Fleming calculated brightness and positions of nearly 10,000 stars. And that's a huge, remarkable feat because that research allows other people to build off their research from that. So super contributions to cataloging information. Mary Proctor assisted manuscripts and publishing journals, which is a big deal. So it's one thing to do all the research, do your own work, maybe write your own publications, but then assist in other people's work and edit their work, make sure that their work is correct. That's a super big deal. So that's definitely should be recognized. And went on to lead a career lecturing and writing about astronomy for children. This is so key. This is so important. A lot of studious individuals love academia and will just pursue a life of that, which we love and we need. But it's not all too often, maybe today, but back then it wasn't all too often that you would have professionals change or pivot their careers to cater specifically towards getting children or youths, younger people and generations interested in science and other fields of study. So I bring that up because former teacher here, I have to remind myself, take the teacher's hat off sometimes. And I just think that's wonderful. So one of the early astronomer teachers that we can thank for existing. So, I don't know, I think I misspelled this. It should be Annie Jump Cannon, everybody. Anne Jump Cannon, almost Annie Jump Cannon. Super, super famous, right up there with Carolyn Herschel. Classified, this is such a big number. 225,000 star spectras and reinvented the stellar classification system. So basically how you identify stars and catalog them, she invented that. That's what she's most well known for, is inventing the system that astronomers still use today to find new stars. That's so awesome. It's so cool. It's so cool. I love that. A woman did that. Also the first woman to receive a doctorate from University of Oxford, which is a little hint towards the next kind of leeway of what we're getting into for women accomplishments. We also have Antonia Mori. She discovered broad spectral lines of stars, and if anyone is wondering what that is, it's basically there are phases of brightness of stars, and some of them will emit certain types of light, and that's what that is broad spectral lines of stars is a certain kind of light being emitted from certain kinds of stars. I hope that explains that. I hope that. Mary Proctor is the only name you know, or at least remember on this slide. I think we'll have time. This is going, it may seem like it's not to you all, this is going a little faster than I really intended. I have a backup in case we finish early. I want to go back and tell you all the 5-6 names that I know out of the total of names here. Like I said, I'm sad. I taught in astronomy. I taught in a planetarium, and it's like, oh my gosh, my bad memory and PTSD memory loss aside, I'm ashamed of myself. That aside, they're much broader than being located around a single wavelength. Thank you. That as well. Thank you for the follows. They're all anonymous here. You're welcome to say hello or continue to lurk, join in on a future stream, all that jazz. Thank you so much for the support and love. We really appreciate that. Especially Stardew friends. I pivot from what we're talking about. Stardew friends of all games in my life. And then Legend of Zelda. But we can talk about fandoms in the end. We're going to get to that. We've had so many amazing streams, so many amazing games. So one thing in our Discord, the Sweet Wild Haven, that I've been telling friends is this is a combination so this raid train is a combination of presentations like this, the necessary, heartfelt, strong conversations that we need to openly have, but also gaming and you know, the awesome, amazing games, what they mean to these gamers and these streamers and these lovely people, and that's been fun. We were talking about hours and hours of X2, Final Fantasy X2. Like, no one's gonna complain about that. Come on now, it was so fun. Thank you for being your podcast. Okay, you know what? On that note, thank you for that compliment. Let's get back into it. Derailed. So good at that. Thank you, Allie. Thank you so much. I love that emote. That's so cute. Thank you for that. Speaking of Legend of Zelda love and Final Fantasy love. And then this is not this is last in our presentation for discussing Pickering's harem. They should be known as the women who mapped our universe. The last, like, most famous person I included of the entire group, we're talking like 30 to 40 women over the course of this time, of the women who worked at Harvard for Pickering, working in astronomy. So here are 5. And this name I did recognize as well. Henrietta Swan Leavitt discovered the structure of our galaxy and neighborhood of galaxies. Basically discovered what our galaxy looks like and then our neighborhood that we're in of galaxies. Like, that blows my mind. Again, I love space, always have since I was a child. It was a privilege to have that time in my life teaching about astronomy and working in a planetarium. So it just boggles my mind that this individual discovered, like, our galaxy. So, like, where we're in our galaxy, in our solar system, and the galaxy, and the neighborhood of galaxies, and then beyond that, it goes super neighborhood and then clusters of neighbor. Oh, it's just so cool. It's so cool. Good morning. Good morning to you. Oh, hello. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. It's lovely to see you. And I want to pronounce your name correctly. I personally, this is a sweet thing. I struggle with the word. Is it Chihutu? Let me know if you prefer Chihutu Oracle, or pronunciation would be really helpful, but I struggle with that. I apologize, my dear. How are you? It is so lovely to see you, and I hope things are going well for you on your end. It's lovely to see you. I struggle with names and pronunciation. It's not in anyone's problem so much as a sweet problem. Welcome in, by the way. You haven't missed too much, actually. We're moving on to the next slide. So we're kind of leaving the 1800s, everybody. We're leaving the 1800s. Things are speeding up a little bit. We're going to look beyond Harvard College. They're not the only people. They're not the only women making remarkable contributions and historical events within our human history of astronomy. So we're going to kind of go a little quickly through this. We have Adelaide Ames, first woman to earn a master's in astronomy and publish the catalog of bright galaxies. So if you're reading this and you're a fast reader, you probably already read a lot of this. There's going to be a lot of firsts. So many firsts. You normally call her Oracle. I love that. Thank you so much for letting me know, Silver. I appreciate that. I don't mean to put the spotlight on people when I ask about their names. I significantly value having names pronounced correctly. I said this the other day. As someone with a very unique and real name, and you have teachers, and you have, first time meets and greets, and people mispronounce your name all the time. I'm just so acutely aware of, let's get it right the first time so I'll remember from here on out. That's the place I'm coming from. Ka? Oh, okay. Cthulhu. That's how you pronounce it. Thank you so much, Cthulhu. Honestly, I've seen the word so many times, and it's on me. I've never actively taught myself how to say it. That's on sweet. Thank you for that. There is a Pokemon in chat. Right here. Hands up. Who here has a really difficult name to pronounce? And it's just like you just like your eyes rolled when the teacher, especially the substitute teacher going down roll call, you're just like, oh man. And there it is. And your peers being so used to you correcting the adults. Oh my gosh, that experience is so shared in our human existence in education and schools and stuff. It's such a shared experience. Often correcting. Yes, yeah. And I still get names incorrect. Don't I, Paglo Wooker? Don't I, Paglo? Don't I? Names are important. They really are. On that note, we do have a little timer that pops up, I think, every hour and a half. But if you didn't know this yet, you can change your pronouns on Twitch. You just go to that website super quick, and you can put in your pronouns, and it will show up in all chat widgets on streamers overlays and assets that they use. It'll show up on all of those. So yeah, if you haven't done that yet and you'd like to do that, by all means. You just think of Doctor Who when you say your full name. See, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I'm not on the Doctor Who train. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I joined Twitch in 2023 and haven't had time. All right, moving on, everyone. Actually, let me hydrate. The next name is a name I absolutely recognized when I was doing my research. You just let people say it wrong? Oh no! Obviously, you didn't do what they said. It was a person with the name that they did it, yeah. Hey, hey, you know what? That's personal preference too. If you're all set and you're like, you know what? I don't care about correcting them. That's fine too. Absolutely. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right. Continuing on. As I said, I know this name. I know Margaret Harwood. It is very difficult not to learn about astronomy and not learn about Margaret Harwood. First astronomer to direct an independent observatory. So we have a lot of first women directing observatories that were owned by men. Margaret Harwood is the first woman astronomer to direct an independent observatory, meaning she owned it. She owned it as well. She was a founder. So super, super exciting. Really big deal. And I think maybe, so astronomy, yes. Maybe because I specifically was in planetarium education. Maybe that's why that name really stood out to me during that time. But also really well known for being a leading teacher and mentor. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for our teachers, mentors, guides, the people who lead us into all of the stuff we can learn about. Hey, Dub D, welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, unique first aid. Yeah, they're so tough. They're so tough. And it's like, And then my last name, it's unique, but it's not as difficult. But yeah, yeah. We have Margaret Walton Mayo. Finished Annie Jump Cannon's work. So she was like kind of like a student of Annie Jump, but then ended up becoming just like partners with her in her work. Annie Jump Cannon passed away. She finished so many publications that they were both working on. She was also the director of the Association of Variable Star Observers. Super big appointment for that. That's, there's many societies and agencies and organizations out there. So we don't have time to name them all, but it's the American Association. I didn't include that in the text, but the AAVSO is a big one. So that's a big deal. We have Annie Scott Dill Maunder, discovered sunspots in repeating patterns. So discovered the fact that that big sunspot that we all know on the sun, she studied that and discovered its 22-year-long pattern. She discovered that. That was her, which is really, really cool. So she's essentially identified the solar sunspot cycle. So yeah, super, super cool. So if you're ever looking at the sunspot, make sure that you have, shielded protection through the telescope and all of that. You can think of Annie Scott. That was her work. I do apologize that I am really kind of covering this name here. We have Jenny Bell Lasby. This was the first woman hired at Mount Wilson Observatory. First woman hired at this very well-known observatory and very well known for publishing articles on the sun. We also have Cora Gertrude Burwell, published over 35 papers. So many women within astronomy published, a paper or two, half a dozen papers. So it is a big deal for Cora to publish over 35, almost 40 papers. And she specialized in cataloging hot stars with hydrogen emission lines. So it's a really unique way of being able to catalog and classify certain specific stars that she was able to work on. We have Maria Mitchell, first woman professor of astronomy. There you have it. There you have it. 1865. Boom. First woman professor of astronomy. That's who we have to thank, Maria Mitchell. So you have directors and you have publicists and you have many researchers that have been first women's within astronomy. She's the first professor of astronomy. And she discovered a whole bunch of comets. A whole bunch of comets. Like, that's so cool. A whole bunch of comets. And then we have Elizabeth Bardwell, published observations of meteor showers, and was an instructor at Mount Holyoke. And that's a big deal during that time to be an instructor there, being the only woman instructor at this observatory. That's a really big deal. Okay, more names, everyone. Let's get right through this. And I'm giggling because one joke that I haven't really made, it's not so much a joke, so much as in my research, getting daunted, feeling overwhelmed, questioning the task that I set out for myself, being a little disappointed that very late on I pivoted my original idea and went with this. So, just doubting, we've been there. Who here has had those big projects? You've just been like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. And one thought came to my mind. All these women kept at their work. They kept their research. They kept classifying and identifying and observing, and so many hours, lifetimes spent doing the work that they did. I realized the least I could do was put their names together in a list and summarize the work that they did for 5 minutes, So, yeah. Hey, Halls. Hi, Halls. Hi, sweetheart. Yo, Halls, your stream. Oh, my goodness. Wonderful conversations, cozy knitting. Oh, my gosh. Your clips. I want to check out more gaming. Hi, Halls. How you doing? So many ways to catalog stars. So is the MK system just a collection of what these women did and then just men's names thrown on? We're going to get to that part. Hold on, Paglo. We're going to get to that. Some of you, are you realizing I haven't mentioned men? Huh. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We're still in the these women were born in the 1800s, but we're really kind of in the early 1900s of when they were producing their work, if that better helps you understand. So yeah, we're going to get there. Paglo, I love that you were like, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Like, something's missing. It's a big something. We have Susan Jane Cunningham, first professor of astronomy at Swarthmore College, having founded its department. So, no astronomy department at Swarthmore College. She made it and then was the first woman professor for that department. Freaking cool. Oh my gosh. So cool. As someone who created her own either her own educational classes or few months long workshops, I couldn't imagine creating a whole educational department. Wow. And astronomy. Oh my God. We have Sarah Frances Whiting, or Whitting. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing names. I don't know these individuals personally. Let me apologize. Founding director of physics department at West Leslie College. Like, oh my gosh, physics? Oh. I don't know physics. I know a little bit, scratch the surface of astronomy, okay? I can teach planetarium education. I know nothing about physics. So that to me is just hugely, hugely impressive to me. Mary Emma Bird is a name I absolutely recognize. Top of the list for me when I was doing the research. I didn't have enough room to write all the departments and colleges she was a director at. Oh my gosh. I wrote director of Smith College Observatory because that was like one of the longest employments that she had. We're talking like director of like 4 or 5 other places, like phenomenal work, and wrote textbooks on astronomy. So we have women producing papers and publications, editing journals and articles of other people's work. This woman wrote textbooks. So cool. I'm fangirling over here because, again, I love astronomy and space, so I'm excited. You wanted to take physics in high school, but as a band kid and it wasn't in your oh yeah, that's so tough being a band kid and it wasn't in your rotation. Oh, already a lot of men in history for stuff, but you don't really get taught too much about the women, or at least you didn't when you were in school. So you're more interested in hearing about the women. You're fine with skipping over the men. I love that sentiment. There is one piece of my experience that I'm going to share towards, my experience working in the planetarium. I have one specific story to share with all of you. So that really touches on that purple wolf. That is perfect. Winifred Egerton Merrill, first woman to earn a doctorate in mathematics. There you go. I'm not a math fan. I don't like math. Physics. Yeah, So, yeah, that's amazing. First woman to earn a doctorate in mathematics. Come on. We have Mary Adela Blagg, known for effectively cleaning up 19th century astronomical star maps. Her whole shindig was taking previously well-known published astronomical data and being like, yeah, we need to fine-tune this, or this is wrong. This is actually what's going on. That was her job. Love that. So important. So we have, if you've noticed a pattern, like we have varied positions and enterprises and just different levels of employment within the field of astronomy and science. It's so cool. Carolyn Allen Furness, another name I recognized when I was doing this research, earned a doctorate in astronomy and wrote a textbook on variable stars. Let's go. Wrote a textbook, just the stuff that you read in school, Harriet Williams Bigelow earned a PhD in astronomy, director of Smith Observatory, and as previously mentioned, that American Astrological Variable it's tough. That really important society, she was the president of that, the first woman president of that. There we go. Just wrote a textbook, and I apologize for joking about downplaying these amazing contributions. We like to giggle and have fun here at the Sweet Wild Streams, so it's all said with the utmost love and respect. So ads are going to be incoming. Let me get through these next couple of names and then we can take a break, everyone. How about that? So Anne Sewell Young published observations of meteor showers and a woman instructor at Mount Holyoke. We have, I'm hiding it. Hide the camera. We have Edith Dabble-Cast, earned a PhD in astronomy and published papers on motions of stars. This is significant. When you study the motions of stars, you know your place, your globe, your planet, your place in the universe better when you study the motion of stars. It's super important. We have Ida M. Barney. This was another name I recognized. Earned a PhD in mathematics, produced a catalog. You ready for this big number? Are we ready for this big number? I just mentioned how important it is to trace the motion of stars. She went and made a catalog of over 147,000 stars. And I apologize for mispronouncing that, but that's a big deal. Hi, Trash Randicoot. Welcome in. We're just getting this last little slide done before the ads roll in. Last two names, sweethearts. Last two names. Whoops, wrong thing I clicked. Oh, that's okay. Let's go over here. We have Anna Estelle Glancy, doctorate in astronomy, published papers on comets, and her work very specifically contributed to commercial optics research, which medical fields and military fields still use today. So later on in her life, she kind of left astronomy and got more into optics research. Her contributions were greatly significant, so impactful. And then we have, and I don't know what happened to my streamer preview. There we go. We have Emma Phoebe Waterman, doctorate in astronomy, published papers on bright class stars. Super, super important work. Super important work. The next chapter We're going to see an acceleration of employment for women in this. We're almost to the end of the first part of our presentation, and we'll have two more parts after that where we'll get a lot more engaging and interactive. So, ads are going to be rolling in, sweethearts. This is going to be at a perfect time to take a break, stay hydrated, get snacks, be cozy, do what you got to do. I'm going to check in on Discord. I see pings. I'm going to check in on Discord. But be sure to take care of all of yourselves. And when we get back, we'll get right back into our lovely presentation. Thank you, everyone, for uplifting women and gender diverse people. Thank you for being amazing and joining us today. And again, if I missed anyone in chat, thank you for being here. I'm sorry I missed you, and I really appreciate your time and your energy, all of you. Never knew about any of this, so I already thought about this. I'm going to upload this to our UWU Discord for all of you, just to have the names, and me and the logo won't be in the way. So I will upload this post stream for all of you just to, look at, have on hand, enjoy. It's very pretty. I love Canva. Get Canva if you don't use it. Even the free version. Get Canva. But let's not plug that. Let's focus on our break. I'm going to hide the cam, put on the little BRB sign. I'm going to finish my hash browns. They're cold, but I'm going to finish them. And I'll see you right after the ads. Thank you, everyone. I'm having a really wonderful time. Thank you for being here. And take care of yourselves. Take a break. All right, everyone. Where am I? Here I am. Where am I? Yes, we have Would You Rather. Would you rather only eat chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream for the rest of your life? Chocolate. Easy answer for me. I mean, I know I wrote those, so I have that answer ready on hand. Chocolate. How are we feeling? Were we able to take a break? Give me 1 second. Okay. Getting back to a DM. I think we're all set. How are we feeling? Let me hydrate. I just finished off my hash browns, my breakfast. 3 for vanilla, 4 for vanilla, 5 for vanilla. Am I the only chocolate? Vanilla. I lost count. Is that 5 or 6? You can add chocolate syrup and stuff. Yeah. And it's easier to find dairy free. Yes. Yeah. Hey, Fleur. Yo, welcome in. Thank you, chocolate. Thank you. Like, am I the only one? Though, sweethearts, those that know me, know I shouldn't have chocolate. We were just talking about this the other day. It was affecting my co-working stream the other day, wasn't it? It was. I can't help myself. I don't eat so many other foods. So I have EDS. I'm very open about it. If you have any questions, let us know. I even forget my own commands. There you go. Eller's, disability, Mary Jane, med time, spoons, and zebra. There you go. So yeah, there's so many foods I'm really good about not eating. Not chocolate. Not chocolate. I'm so bad. I'm not an adult. I'm not a good person when it comes to my body and chocolate. And I don't like candy, but chocolate is just something else. Hey, MJ, oh my gosh, what a lovely, cozy, cute stream, if you don't mind me saying. Oh my gosh. And Celendria, yo, oh my gosh, I've had the privilege of meeting such wonderful streamers that I had not known about before, that I really look forward to, visiting their streams and getting to know them. You all are so amazing, so talented and inspiring. We're going to get to that at the end of our presentation. Who and what inspires you, not just to be yourself and reach towards the stars, but to advocate for change for women and all marginalized genders. So I've met amazing streamers who have checked off all those boxes. Yo, is it Thragdrasil? I'm used to pronouncing Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil. There we go. I'm a big fan of Norse. Well, they call it folk metal. I just say folk metal. Yeah. Yeah, Thragdrasil. I was like, Yggdrasil, I'm very familiar with. How you doing? Welcome in. We just got out of ads. We're going to get right back into our presentation. I just finished off my hashies. They were good. You also have EDS. Does chocolate have negative impact? So, well, on me. So I'm not speaking for anyone else, but I can say what EDS friends tend to share in common is our, either minor to significant gastrointestinal disorders and stress and conditions and symptoms. So I'm like in the range of like not too invasive of one's life, 1 to a scale of 10 of, it affects everything. There are days, so like most of my life it's like a 5, and then there are days where I'm an 8, 9. So I have gastrointestinal issues. I've gotten better. The older I get, I'm in my 30s, the older I get, the better I am. But chocolate, chocolate. Yes, for new friends, if you want to use any emotes, you don't have to be subbed here to send any of the emote commands. We have a few follower ones, but a lot of those you just send commands. We love Ghibli and Hello Kitty, and so many others. So yeah. As someone with celiac, you know the tummy troubles all too well. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm so my heart goes out to you, and the reason being, I kind of, have kind of put myself in your shoes, but also couldn't take myself out of my own shoes, and that I love bread. I could not live without it. When I started stream and was saying I had just, was trying to eat my hash browns, someone was saying, "Ooh, hash browns." I was like, "Yeah, staple. It's a staple of my diet." And bread, right up there. I can eat bread dry. If it's like an artisan bread, I will just nom on it. So sorry for going on about that, but just, experiencing what it would be like to be in your shoes. My goodness, my heart, hun. My heart. Oh, yeah, expensive frozen gluten-free bread. Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, that could be a presentation in of itself. The cost of the food we need to survive. It's absurd. Oh, but we're here for women in astronomy. I should move on. Let's move on. I am dragging things out a little bit. I actually suspect that I'll be done our presentation. We're like halfway through it. I know that this first chapter seems like a lot. We're actually halfway through it. So, I said at the earlier start of stream, I have a backup plan. If I finish early, we'll swap over to a game. So if we get there, me at the dollar store seeing the $10 eggs. I know, and eggs. I bought a box of the pre-kit banana bread mix, and I have not used it. Not because I was like, we might need eggs for actual breakfast or something. So I have not made banana bread because of that. Yeah. Oh goodness, we could talk all day about that, but I will move on. My goodness. Oh, happy UWU Day. Thank you so much. Thank you, DJ. Thank you, DJ Cliche. It's good to see you. Oh, thank you, Oracle. Also, Oracle, not to give away for friends who may not know, I just want to say, if you at any point in time need to lurk and get ready, by all means, Oracle, it's such a treat to have you here, sweetheart. Thank you for having the time. I was trying to have time for, our wonderful friend before me. So yeah. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. Didn't mean to derail. No, that's me. That's me. Ask the mods. It's sweet. It's sweet. It's me. It's all me, guys. All right, moving on. Let's get back into it. So, as I said, before we got into the ad breaks, we're going to leave this early 1900s women working in astronomy period where, yeah, they're starting to have recognition that they're valued, that they're intelligent, that they create great works, but the stigmas and the disbeliefs and the limitations and the restrictions still very prevalent. That did not change. So, moving on. World War II. Now, we're not discussing the war itself, and there's so many subjects, so many topics and issues of how the war affected so many peoples and elements of our society. We have to narrow it down for our presentation, one step at a time. Hi, Momo, by the way. Sorry to not acknowledge you. Go enjoy your walk. So the employment opportunities, more available. Yup. Not all the women saw the advantages, but what we do see are women absolutely climbing up the employment ladder, seizing opportunities, gaining, positions that, make a difference, are monumental to astronomy. So joining in with that, a name I definitely recognized when I was putting all this research together, Ruby Payne Scott. Oh my gosh, that name's up there in terms of astronomy and history of astronomy. Masters in physics, discovered radio bursts from the sun. So the reason Ruby Payne Scott is so well recognized, her work with the radio bursts from the sun and measuring those improved radio detectors, which for the war was really important. But beyond that, think of all the technology we have today that has, evolved from the early radio technology that she had a great hand in. So yeah, very monumental in our human history with that. Basically improved radios. and the frequencies and their ranges and their capabilities. It's so cool. We have Henrietta Hill Swap, another name I did recognize, but wasn't all too familiar. She was like one of those people, I'm like, I've heard that name. She had a master's in astronomy, specialized in the Andromeda galaxy. That's why I was like, oh, okay, I would have heard that name, and the stars within it as well. So she basically studied our neighbor. She studied our neighbor and got a lot of information about it, which is really cool. You're learning so much. I'm glad. Oh, there is a Scyther in chat. Gonna miss a lot of Pokemon today. We have Bess Shapley, which I didn't recognize her name, and I wish I had. PhD in German literature and self-taught in astronomy. Self-taught. I can say I'm self-taught in astronomy. I have no certifications. I have no publications. I have no qualifications to back that up. I have a couple of years of self-taught astronomy. The difference in that someone being self-taught in astronomy in her position is that she had a career, she had an education in it, she had a structured, learning experience with it. So, yeah, I think that's awesome. Published a dozen papers, just astronomical papers for the world to read and learn about, We have Antoinette de Vaucouleurs. She had an undergraduate degree. Now, this is really something to note. All the women up until this point had specialized degrees, with the exception of Betts and Antoinette. We have someone who was self-taught in astronomy, but still had that PhD in another category, but just still no official documentation for astronomy. And that coincides with Antoinette. She just had an undergraduate degree. That really, if you know academia, and just kind of how stigmas can kind of go with that is almost a barrier. It's a restriction in itself. It's tough. It's tough. As someone only with a bachelor's, it can be kind of tough. So I just applaud her for that. I think that's amazing, because she went on to publish over 70 papers in her lifetime. 70 papers in her lifetime, proving that you don't have to have a master's, doctorate, PhD, and all of these things. You can still have some type of qualification and continue a life of education and research and all of that. So I love that. Helen Sawyer Hogg, hide that for you all, had a PhD in astronomy, discovered variable stars, was the acting chair of astronomy at Mount Holyoke. Was amazing. Acting chair. So in a sense, if the director wasn't there, she was in charge. You would go to Helen for that. Charlotte Emma Moore Sitterly had a PhD in astronomy, created the reference for astrophysical spectral identifications. I know that's a lot of fancy words, but essentially another way of identifying stars that everyone else was able to use for their own research and build off from. So, when we have women that are the founders of work that other people can use and benefit from, it's amazing. It's amazing. We have E. Dorrit Hoffelet, PhD in astronomy, published many papers, known for being one of the best teachers in astronomy. Just highly regarded, so many teachers being known for passionate and good at what they do. But when it's in a field of science for women in the early 1900s, it's really making a change. It's making a huge positive impact. So this name rings with a lot of other astronomers, other people in science, because she was so inspiring. Gotta love that. Then we have Margaret Keese, I'm going to say this wrong, I do apologize, Krogdahl. First woman to earn a PhD from Chicago, from the University of Chicago. So first woman to earn a PhD from that famous institution, and produced and edited many other people's publications. Many others. Phenomenal work. Whoops, there we go. Next. Some more names, some more names. Don't feel daunted, everyone. Don't feel daunted. It does go pretty quick. We have Merle Eleanor Tuberg. Yes, there we go. Tuberg Gold, PhD in astronomy, held a post for doctoral position at University of Cambridge. We have Marjorie Hall Harrison, PhD in astronomy, published papers on stars with hydrogen-depleted cores, studying stars and their lifetimes and how they may fade out and not last. Wow. We might learn a little bit about one star in particular that's a little special to us called our sun. So her work inspires the work of learning about our own very important star. And Barbara Underhill, postdoctorate scholar. So that means she just kept getting a lot of degrees. She was in academia, specialized in star spectras and atmosphere models at NASA. One of the leading ladies at NASA. Amazing work. Chicago Hive, let's go! Chicago Hive, nice. Some of you might recognize these places, and if you get excited, if you're like, oh, that woman, like, oh my gosh, for my area, my town, or my state, you are well deserved to get excited. Well deserved. I was like, what, Baglow? Lord of the Rings joke, which we love. I love Lord of the Rings. You might be able to tell the Shire poster right there. We have Nancy Grace Roman, PhD in astronomy, head of radio astronomy program at Naval Research Laboratory. Now, this is phenomenal because women in any military commission or position, some of us could probably imagine what happens in the military for women, but especially throughout history of our times and stuff. So for this individual, Nancy Grace Roman, to have an astronomical position, a science position for a military research laboratory, and a highly regarded one, was a really huge accomplishment for her time. Big deal. Good morning. How are you? Good morning, trans girl. Welcome in. Happy uwu. And I didn't have time. I wanted to get like a little reminder of our commands that we have. If you see them in our stream title, a little bit of a longer stream title, let me just send them all out. We have uwu, IWD, we have women, and we have support. These commands today. You know what? Real quick, little derailment here. I'm gonna pin that. There we go. I will pin that to the top of chat. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's women. No. Woman, we love, all. let's make it plural. There we go. Repin. Gotta proofread. Hey, Justin, welcome in. There we go. It's better. I mean, we wanna uplift more than just one woman. All women, all marginalized genders. Woman. Yes. Yeah, I love being silly. You all are wonderful. Martha Elizabeth Starr Patty Carpenter, PhD in astronomy, first woman to be a member of the Cornell Arts and Scientists. The next person we're going to talk about is one of the top, most famous astronomers in human history. But Martha was this person's mentor. So as famous as this next person is, if you're reading ahead, you're like, oh, I know that person, then good. But Martha was a phenomenal teacher and mentor and really inspired this next person who didn't originally plan to pursue astronomy, was going to just go for mathematics to pursue astronomy. And we are very grateful as a human society that that happened, because Miss Vera Florence Cooper Rubin has contributed so much to astronomy. PhD in astronomy proved that dark matter existed and were the reason that galaxies are being held together. So going into that a little bit quicker, a little bit deeper. So what her research proved, she set out to figure out she set out to figure out the shape of galaxies. And she had a theory that, well, based on brightness, based on the brightness would determine their size. And she also, through science, expected them to look a certain way. That did not happen. And through all her theoretical analyses and reportings and findings and calculations, what she did find, what she proved was dark matter exists, and it is the reason that our galaxies hold shape, hold form, and why not all galaxies have the same shape. So phenomenal work. It was a leap in understanding the universe. It was a significant, remarkable leap in our understanding of the universe. So that might be why you recognize Vera Rubin's name. Oh no, you're just writing her name. The woman you should support first is yourself, so you can support women. Oh my gosh, that's so lovely. The Patty should be in quotes because there's a nickname. You are so right. This presentation, Paglo, you and for our grammar, our love to correct grammar friends, I'm right there with you. You're gonna notice a few things for the sake of being brief and cohesive throughout the presentation. You're just not going to see certain things. So you're right. Patty was a nickname. You're right. Let's address that. Martha should be addressed as Patty. And that should be in quotes. Thank you, Paglo. Names are important. We discussed that before break. We have Frances Woodworth Wright, doctorate in astronomy, wrote 4 books on celestial navigation. 4 freaking books. 4 books on celestial navigation, similarly to our previous woman who wrote the Atlas in 1899. Celestial navigation is relied on people who sail across the seas, who study the stars. It's education and knowledge and calculations for many people. So it's pretty cool. So we are leaving this World War II era of, okay, we're gonna hire a few more women, but we're not gonna treat them with respect or the same, rights. So this is kind of changing a little bit. The space age and necessity starts beginning in the 1960s. So essentially, we need more women. That's what they were realizing. We need more women. We need more women. So I'm gonna go a little bit quicker through this next part. Beverly Turner Linda, first woman director at Kitt Peak Observatory, discovered thousands of dark nebulae. Eleanor Margaret Burbridge developed the spectrograph used on the Hubble telescope and discovered the black hole at the center of galaxy M82. Eleanor Margaret Burbridge is pretty much credited as the person who provided the telescope's ability to change the light for the photographs that they were making with Hubble. It was pretty cool. Julie Marie Vinter Hansen, first woman applied at University of Copenhagen, known for disseminating false publications. Hello. I mentioned this a little earlier. The importance and recognition of varied different types of jobs and responsibilities and positions within fields of science and astronomy, in any field really of profession. You got to have your people that are actually, our whole job is to make sure the correct information is out there. That was her. Gotta love that. Frida Elizabeth Palmer, first Swedish woman to earn PhD in astronomy, published Motions of Stars. Again, knowing how the stars move, we learn about our own star, which is good for our solar system and our planet. We have Geza Kyril Distrobel, separate PhDs in science. So, she liked getting her education and she got certified in pretty much everything she did. She's got lots of degrees. First woman appointed astronomer in Italy. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? My goodness, my goodness. That happened in the 1960s, for those of you wondering. And again, sorry if I'm missing chat. Oh, Silver, I was thinking of you two. Get out of here, you two. We're discussing women in astronomy and adversity. We're uplifting women and all gender diverse people. Not grammar. Yes, grammar. Actually, that's just as important. Darn it. I can't get away from it. Too cute. We have Wilhelmina Iwanowska, first woman president of the International Astronomical Union. That's a big deal. Founder of the Copernicus. There we go. Copernicus University. I apologize for mispronouncing names. Let me hydrate real quick. We have Margita Hack, first woman director of Observatory of Trieste. Very big deal. University of Trieste, pretty well known. And only a woman astronomy professor in Italy until 1992. 1992. So, our previous woman that we discussed in Italy, Geza Kyril Distrobel, she was not a teacher. She was an astronomer, so she did research and publications, but she was not specifically a teacher. So Margita Hack was the first astronomy professor teacher in Italy, 1992. Alla Genrikova Masovic, PhD in astronomy, responsible for leading the tracking of Sputnik satellites. So that space age, the, satellites being launched, got to get to the moon. Who's going to get to the moon first? Oh my goodness. She was responsible for knowing where the Sputnik satellites were. Hi, Diablo. How are you? Whose belated birthday? Yes, it was Paglo's birthday yesterday, everyone. We do have a command for that. I did turn off sounds for that, so we should be good, but you can use !happy at Paglo Hooker. There you go. Happy birthday, Paglo. Belated birthday. Good to see you, Diablo. Good to see all of you. All right, last two names on this list. Susan Kaiser, first woman to earn PhD in astronomy from Caltech. We all know Caltech. And Sachiko Sudata, PhD in astrophysics expert, like known as an expert in neutron stars and black holes. When the word expert is used, that means pretty much it's globally considered that that person is the best in what they do. So that's her. Now, you may notice these two names do not have ending dates to them. They're still alive. So everyone, we're getting out of this era where these women are just historical figures. We're getting into the part where these women are still alive. They studied under the best of the best. They're doing amazing, phenomenal works, and they're still alive. We're getting to that point. I love it. So, all that said, we still got limited compromise, okay? So we've left this war era, but we're entering in this other war era, the 1970s. It's not all peace and love. That's why people are shouting peace and love, right? So the biggest trouble is we're still in this weird phase of we need women in astronomy, we need them in math, we need them in computer science, but we don't want to admit that. We don't want to break through that. We don't want to be the ones to push those barriers. So limited compromise. Institutions are legitimately at this time only hiring one woman per university. So if for those of you that may not know how like colleges and universities work, they are often can be, not all of them, some of them are very independent, but sometimes colleges, universities can be absorbed into greater institutions. So that's how you have certain universities, or excuse me, institutions with multiple campuses, different town names, all that jazz. So institutions are like the higher level that really get to say of what universities and colleges do. So we have Erica Baum Wittness, 1971, University of Washington. Virginia Trimble, 1971, University of Irvine. Roberta Humphreys, 1972, University of Minnesota. Sandra Moore Faber, 1972, University of Santa Cruz. Judith Pfeiffer, 1972, University of Rochester. Sylvia Torres Peinbert, 1973, National Autonomous University of Mexico. That's the English saying of that. Beatrice Muriel Hill Tinsley, a little bit of a jump, 1975, History of Texas. We have Susan M. Simkin, 1975, University of Wisconsin. Another jump, a little bit of a bigger jump. Judy Cohen, 1979, University of Caltech. And then Susan Wyckoff, 1979, Arizona State University. So we still have, this doesn't mean that there are no other women working in astronomy at any other place on the globe. So many. And studying too. Undergrads and even kids in elementary, that is growing. It's growing. I make a note of Trimble and Simkin. They're a little bit famous. They might be a little bit more well known because they were the only individuals, the only women during their time to actually have universities compete to hire them. They had multiple offers. So they had, a little bit of, this competition, that they had to choose from. They obviously went with University of Irvine and University of Wisconsin with their decisions. That said, I bring them up as well. These women during this time experienced a different form of adversity that's something I feel like a lot of us are more aware of today, much more cognizant of, and that appearances tend to be seen first and then absolutely discount other skills and values and qualifications that not just women but people possess. The appearance, the presentation, how a person looks and sounds on the outside will stop these universities and institutions from doing what's right and hiring the smartest brains they could possibly have on their side. So these two individuals actually, while they had universities compete to hire them, they had to choose and, offers and all this stuff. At the same time, these same places, these same people, and then many more outside of these organizations were saying they're too pretty, they need to be at home, they don't deserve to have competitive opportunities, and that they shouldn't be taken seriously, that they should be at home. So these two women and all of these women on this screen right here and now really face this kind of new age adversity in that, like we've always wanted you to stay home and take care of the family, but now your looks are a part of it. If you were considered a certain way, well, why should you be here? Like, you shouldn't be studying astronomy. You should probably be in modeling, maybe go do photographs, like go join Hollywood. So freaking frustrating because these women obviously are not there to care about their looks. They're there for science, to advance our society. So, 1970s, I was not alive. I do not want to speak for a time that I was not alive, nor for women that I do not know. But my gosh, how frustrating. Really frustrating. Thank you for the hydrate. I think, and, if anyone wants to share their experiences, you don't have to. I can speak from my own experiences that looking a certain way will attract you certain behaviors and attention that you don't necessarily want. And it's not justified, it's not deserved, and sometimes it's so hard to handle. And there have been very recent circumstances in which those issues and those problems are, very prevalent with streamers. And we know some of those examples that I'm referring to and not, specifically giving details to. But yeah, it's, we start seeing this in this time in the field of science. Is like, oh, well, you're gorgeous. What are you doing here? Come on now. It's like, what? Are you serious? Like, why is that even mentioned? Why is that like, yeah, exactly. I've never seen the movie Legally Blonde. I've been told, because I always had like this perception of it that it was just a comedy. I actually was told to invest in it, and I'm really big on reading about movies and reading the synopses and plots and all of that is kind of my thing. So I read about Legally Blonde. Oh my gosh, the whole point is it doesn't matter what you look like, you got brains. And for part of that movie, that drive to be gorgeous, that drive to be, always looking your best and to be this persona was part of that, them proving that it didn't matter. It's a weird way. I feel like maybe I said that a little weird and not having actually seen the movie but watched it. But Legally Blonde touches on that subject is, why is this an issue? Why is how I looking? Why, all of that jazz. It shouldn't be an issue for anyone. So long as you're appropriately dressed for work, you're good to go. You're good to go. So, yeah. Oh, the worst. Let's move on. And like I said, these individuals, living today have done great works, continue to do great work. So we're seeing new promises from these institutions and universities that, okay, we are going to hire more women. They're getting called out. You can't just hire one woman per university. You can't do that. You literally are not serving anyone's needs. You're not providing justice, and you're definitely not providing the best education that you claim to deliver. So you gotta change. And a lot of these places started changing. So we have a lot of names here: Susan Edwards, Smith College; Martha Haynes, University of Cornell; Imka de Pater, University of Berkeley; Jill Knapp, Princeton University. Jill Knapp is a name I absolutely recognized for sure. Susan G. Kleinman, University of Massachusetts; Judith Young, University of Minnesota; Phyllis Lugger, Indiana University; Mary Kay Hudson, Dartmouth College. I'm covering her up. Let's hide me. Harriet Dinnerston, University of Texas. We have Jean L. Turner, University of Los Angeles; Rosemary Wise, Johns Hopkins University; Francis Cordova, Penn State University; Netta Bacall, Princeton University; and Kristen Selgreen, Ohio State University. So do you all remember that little bit I said at the start of our presentation that the disclaimer was, this is not a complete list of all the women who have worked in astronomy and human history. A lot of these women you might notice these universities are all located in America. I've mentioned all these American astronomers because that's, limiting my own time for research and not branching out. We have other countries that are moving up during this time, that are taking women in science much more seriously and even wanting them in these positions and in these fields. So we see a change. We see a change as we're approaching the 1990s. The world is changing for women in science, all people in science. Hi, Don. Welcome in. So, before we get to the 1990s, I want to mention someone so freaking special right up there on the list of first, being an empowering woman, just being a leading figure in astronomy. But I would like to say, equally as important, being a Black woman achieving firsts in human history. So Barbara A. Williams was the first Black woman to earn a PhD in astronomy. First Black woman to earn a PhD in astronomy. I have to repeat that right back to back. It's an amazing accomplishment. A lot of us history buffs, or those that just know our human history in general, can already imagine the struggles that Barbara Williams must have endured obtaining a PhD in astronomy during her time. Then went on to become the first Black woman to hold professorship in the United States. So yeah, when we're talking about, all women and all genders, all gender diverse people, we have to think about people of color as well, uplifting them as well. And all of these women I've mentioned beforehand were of a Caucasian racial heritage. And so it should be said that we need to recognize when people of color, women of color, transgender, and non-binary people of color are uplifted as well and supported and contribute to our society, because they always do. So Barbara definitely checks off that box as being an amazing Black woman, being the first woman to earn a PhD in astronomy. Let's freaking go. Amazing work. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Hojali. I appreciate you. Excuse me, Holly. I appreciate you, sweetheart. So we're starting to see real change. I've said this. Oh, no, I see a typo. I saw this last night. I didn't fix it this morning. It's supposed to be over. I'll fix that before I get this up and loaded in our Discord. Over 70 women astronomers have been discussed in this presentation up until now. The common notion is that what I've done to here and today is easy. Was nothing. I put in about 10 hours of this, throughout the course of several days. That's nothing. Like I joked earlier on, I was getting daunted by the work, cataloging all these names, really questioning whether you all really wanted to stay and listen to all this, me feeling pressured just to speed quickly through all that really important information, which I feel guilty of, it's like, I wish we had all the time to discuss each woman and more work that they did, but we need to talk about other stuff for sure. So what I've done here and today is actually pretty easy, because as we start to approach the 1990s and the 2000s, the work of cataloging them, tracing all the women, all the remarkable achievements and contributions that they've done, does become daunting, does become difficult, rightfully so. We want that. We want more women, more gender diverse people in fields of science. It should be difficult to learn all the names and all the work they've done. It should be. Thank you for the BRB. It should be. So we see some demonstrated action in the 2000s. The advancement of education and employment, careers for women started really actually moving up. And that's really because people like us, before us, were advocating for the equity and inclusion for all women and gender diversity. So this actually coincides, when we're talking about astronomy today, with technology advancing. It demands human cooperation. We're not going to move farther in any fields of science or in any field of any profession without more people. So yeah, we absolutely benefit from more people, more women, and gender diverse individuals contributing to our society. We need their minds. We need their helping hands. And that's how we have remarkable people advancing our world. We continue to see these advancements in our cultures and the way that we understand ourselves and where we see ourselves in our societies. We advance in that, we progress in that, and it betters ourselves, and it betters how we're able to uplift everyone around us. So we continue to set records, specifically in the realm of science and astronomy. We have women who are still hold records for most amount of space hours walked. That's when you're outside of the ISS or a space capsule. That's space hours walked. We have women and people of gender diversity commanding great respect because they're amazing leaders and mentors and guides and teachers. That makes them the most fitting for teaching the next generation of, astronomers and friends in science. And when they're included in our systems of operations, they improve how things work because they provide solutions that we wouldn't think of before. They provide solutions and answers, and just, whether it be the mystery to a question in astronomy or to an issue that we experience in our everyday lives. So that's when we benefit, when everyone is included and thought of. So, little fun astronomy fact for all of you. Some of you may know this already. It is very true. I'm giggling. We can laugh about this, but it is true. Science has proven that women make better astronauts. So that's not astronomers, everyone. Astronauts, the people physically in space. They make better astronauts for two reasons. On average, women weigh less than men, which improves fuel consumption. Oh my gosh, you get into the whole rockets and the science of that and the marketing of that and all that jazz. Fuel consumption is like top of the list of stress factors for them. So less fuel being used is better, but also, this is coming from the 1960s, or actually 50s, 60s, and 70s, okay? Women complain less than men. There you have it. That was the other reason. So as men and women and people are being trained to be astronauts in the 50s, the 60s, and 70s and being sent out there, what's happening to all the other people who are the helping hands to making the astronauts actually out there, what's happening is they're noticing that women not only save quite a bit of money because they're just using less resources, but they were not complaining about the fit of suits. They were not complaining about the hours and time required and, to do all of the work. They were not complaining about being cramped and being uncomfortable and being in pain. So I laugh because, I think of like menstrual cycles and like how today there have been technologies created to try and simulate, period pain and bodily pain and things like that for others to experience and just understand what it can be like. And so I kind of equate it to that, and that's why I giggle and laugh, because it's just like one of those things that like women complain less, we can tolerate quite a bit more crap. We make better astronauts, I guess. So yeah, I just thought that was really funny. That was coming out in the 1960s and 70s. It's just like women, they just handle being astronauts a little bit better. Okay, moving on. We're in the second part of our stream, but actually this is going to go really quick. So the first chapter of our presentation was the big chunky part, the informational part. We're actually getting into the part where we're going to talk about the serious important matters that mean the world to us. But I also want to start hearing from all of you, either your experiences, your opinions, your thoughts, and things of that nature. I think that would be really valuable for everyone to feel included in on the conversation. So kind of chapter 2 is enduring this astronomical adversity. So a little cheeky, wordplay there, but it's astronomical. The adversity that people, face, but women in particular in pursuing their careers and passions. So Paglo earlier was like, you're not mentioning husbands or like relatives that have worked with these well-known people on all these things. There was a reason I absolutely omitted the names of husbands and relatives if they were male. So actually, the entire time just now, we were talking about women and their work and crediting them for what they did. Because actually, up until the 1960s, women were not being credited. There was a various reasons. So it's just so frustrating. Basically, women who worked alongside their husbands or male relatives either were never credited or were only credited as like a side piece or assistant, even if they like pretty much did the work themselves. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. So I did all my research, right? Like I wrote a bunch of names. It wasn't just women. But as I'm putting the presentation together, I thought it was very important to focus on women and not attaching their work towards their husbands or their relatives' names, because that's what they endured for so long. So I very consciously did that. And yeah, we want to recognize women for what they've done on their own. So that was my goal there. um Many women that were mentioned here today were actually not allowed to advance their careers. So I did talk about like, oh, opportunities were increasing. Some women were, able to climb up the employment ladder. That wasn't the case for a lot of women because laws and business practices were still stupid. They were still rigid. They were still just so stuck and behind on the times, and being biased, and looking down on women and all of that. So it was really tough. It was really tough. You have some women moving up, a lot of women not. A lot of women would end their careers when they had families because of pressure and expectations. We hear that a lot in human history, not just in astronomy. That's just pretty much global and still happens today. These are astronomical adversity because we're still dealing with a lot of this today. Many people. And back then, this really happened in the 1960s and 70s as I was doing my research. It was so, I hate reading about this stuff or even watching it, movies and stuff like this. I know a lot of us, when we deal with toxic people, it just kind of it's so tough to learn about. But yeah, some of these women experienced direct and intentional sabotage to prevent them from advancing in their careers. There were a few women who were just lost their positions, never given the positions or opportunities that they absolutely deserved. So, so frustrating. And I bring that up because I couldn't imagine living during that time being just as, if not smarter than some of my counterparts, but not being recognized or heard or even acknowledged or respected because the male voices were in the room. It's tough. And I know a lot of us still experience it today. I've experienced hardships with my employment for sure. I'll mention that in a little bit, but yeah, very frustrating during that time. And like I said, a lot of us are still dealing with that today. So, hey, we skipped. There we go. So, this part is really, really important to me. I think, I wonder if ads might roll in a little bit. I'm going to be conscious of that and maybe I'll pause them. So, this part is really important to me. So I mentioned at the start, I'm like rubbing my eyes because, oh gosh, forgive me for having a hard time. This part I couldn't plan in my head. None of this is scripted, but this part I just couldn't prepare, the speech in my head on this part. I wrote this, yes, but I wanted to say, there it is. I want to pause the ads. We're going to snooze those. Snooze them. I'll be able to get this out before ads do roll in. Women were the only names. So individuals identifying as women were the only people I spoke about in today's presentation thus far. And that is not to say that there aren't plenty of transgender, non-binary, gender diverse people working within science and astronomy in so many fields. We haven't seen or discussed any of them in today's presentation, and that's not because of lack of time. We live in the United States, we lived in a very politically charged time to where the names of individuals can cause unsafe workplaces for people. We don't have to dive into those conversations and what's happening, but we can talk about the impacts and what people are experiencing right now. So as I have a list, I put a list. It's just like finding women in astronomy and in history. It's not difficult to find transgender, non-binary, LGBTQ people within astronomy. It's not hard. I got a list. I wrote them all down. Didn't include them in the presentation because of the political status of the country that I reside in. I absolutely recognize a lot of friends may not be living in the United States, but understand everything that I'm not actually going into detail of. So I apologize. Please, friends, let me apologize. I don't want to get teary-eyed. It's not my place to cry over this, but I apologize. I'm tears working up. I apologize for not including their names. Johnny. Thank you for the raid. Johnny! Welcome in, Raiders. We're talking about really wonderful, important life matters. We're talking about gender diversity in astronomy within this part of my presentation, and I was just expressing why we did not include the names of gender diverse people who work within astronomy. So welcome in. It's UWU Day for Sweet. It's going on all week long up through the weekend for celebration of Women's Month and International Women's Day, uplifting all women in all marginalized genders. So welcome in, everyone. We're doing a presentation on women in astronomy and adversity. We're actually well over halfway through our presentation today. We're doing really well on time. Ads might roll in a little while, but we're going to take a break when we get to that point. So this is a good time if you need to take a break, rate and run. Please feel free to do so. Johnny, how you doing? How you doing? I love you, Johnny. You're so awesome. Johnny is in a very different time zone than I am. How long have you been up? How long you been up, good sir? I hope you're well. Welcome in, Raiders. I don't even have my Raider message. Here we go. Where is it? There it is. It's teeny tiny because presentation time, but we do co-working and Stardew and many other lovely, wonderful things that we enjoy. And today is my stream for Uplifting Women Unite Raid Trains. So yes, please join us. Thank you for being here. We're light on redeem so we can focus and have wonderful conversations about very important matters. And Johnny, let me encourage you to raid and run because I know you have a lovely, wonderful family that you got to look after as well. So, just as I was saying, friends, that is the reason why I have not included the names. That is pretty much the only reason. We're in a very politically charged time where certain things are happening, and I didn't want to make my stream, my little platform, a little space on the corner of the vast interwebs. I didn't want to somehow feel any part or responsibility for somehow contributing to the dangerous actions that others are taking against the people we know and love. So that's why I have not listed amazing, remarkable, impactful, transgender, non-binary, marginalized gendered people who work in astronomy in this presentation. So we'll let the ads roll in now. It was good that I paused. That was great timing. Thank you, Johnny. And I hope our friends get a chance to check your stream out, dear friend. Thank you, Fleur. Thank you. I was very emotional about that because I wanted to include those names. I hate that I was like, I don't think it's the right thing to do because then I feel like I'm making it unsafe for these amazing people. And it's so tough. There's no right answer, and we do have to do what's our best. And in that sense, I'm going to pick up and move on and simply reiterate that the risks of criticism and discrimination exist even more for people of marginalized genders. So as much adversity as women face, it's going to be double for our friends who identify as gender diverse. So I will mention Thank you for the follow, sweethearts. I will mention there are efforts, there are positive, great strides, regardless of how dark and bleak it may seem in the United States right now. In other parts of the world, we're not the only messed up place. We're pretty up there. We can all say that. But all that said, there is great works happening, and it doesn't get the uplifting and the light that it deserves. So in the effort of researching, people, transgender people, non-binary astronomers, make the effort to look up the good positive stuff that's going to make us feel a little bit more hope, that's going to make us feel like our efforts and our voices matter. It is happening. There are great works, there are movements, and there are small successes along the way. So we're allowed to celebrate those successes as well. We're allowed to be any emotion we may feel when we're dealing with hard times, whether it be something sad and angry or whether we're feeling uplifted and happy. We're allowed to feel that. You're allowed to be human. So this is a perfect stopping point, pausing point. Where are we? I just did the same one. There we go. When we get back from ads, sweethearts, this is the part where I want to start hearing from you. I want to start hearing from all of you. How can we positively affect change for all women and gender diverse people? I got 2 bullet notes. I have a degree in psychology. I'd like to think it's helped. It's not the end all be all. A bachelor's in psychology is not the end all be all, but it's helped in my understanding, and I continue to learn. So when we get back from ads, I would love to hear from all of you. And thank you to our wonderful lurkers who are supporting UWU as well and listening in. So get snacks, stay hydrated, take a break, stretch. I should stretch. I am going to take my medicine super quick, and then we're getting to the end of our presentation today. I'm doing really good. So I'll see you all after the ads. Let's have another battle royale with our little stream avatars. There we go. And yeah, be sure to take care of yourselves during the ad break, okay? Let's get this started. Thank you, everyone. There we go. Thank our chatters, or our lurkers too, who may not be able to fully hear. All right, I'll see you after the ads end. Thank you, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. How are we doing? Let's check in, everyone. Let's check in. Sweethearts, UWU friends, raiders, radies, mods. How are we doing? Train sitters. By the way, the train sitters. I mean, hello. Train sitters keeping this event just, it's not just running smoothly. It's not just about having fun. It's having that reassurance that we have those guiding us along, that if anything were to arise, let alone go wrong, it wouldn't go wrong because we have friends who are here making sure that this whole event is just the best that it can be. So it is. Oh yeah. Well, when it's the 3rd annual Raid Train event of Uplifting Women Unite, you would think systems of operation might have been significantly improved with women and other gender diverse people at the helm. We haven't been talking about that at all today. It is a brilliant idea, Key and I. And let me just say, I normally wouldn't ever do this. I like to normally say I don't speak for others, but let me speak for other streamers and other Discord communities and mods when I say communicating to our wild mod team and providing them the information and how things are going to go and what to expect. I mean, it's been, I would hope for them, easier because those who have organized and are leading this Raid Train event have done everything they can to make sure that we have the resources and the information and the capability to move forward. So, yeah. Give me 1 second. Okay. One moment. Okay. Speaking of mods and staying in touch with them. All right. Love the mods. I love the mods. Good leaders make great results. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, Kenai. That's an amazing quote. Good leaders make great results. That's a really wonderful segue. Dear friends, I love to hear from you. Either something you've done yourself, something you know someone has done, or just something that's been done, in our human history on this planet. How can we positively affect change for all women and gender diverse people? So while you all think of something that you might want to say here in chat, and no pressure, I'm a broken record here. If you come back, you're going to hear me say I'm a broken record and then say what I'm about to say. That I tend to put the spotlight on people. And if you don't want that, just because I ask you a question or I say something to you doesn't merit a response or an answer. You can continue on enjoying yourself and just being. So, if you want to, be here, listen, and catch Pokemon, that works for me too. So, while we think of anything that you all might want to share, one thing I have learned, so I have a degree in applied psychology and human services, so 2 fields in one, so many parallels and crossovers, and that's why the degree and the way it was structured works really well. And one thing that I learned, and I'm a non-traditional college student, everyone. I have, you know what? I'm looking at my slides. You know what Sweet forgot to put? My experiences in teaching at the planetarium, my story that I had for all of you. Why don't we continue with what we're doing here and now, and then I'll share the story. I did forget that. Good job, Sweet. So, what I learned through my education being a non traditional college student, so what that means is being on my own, being an adult. For a lot of people, it means also having others to provide for. And I don't have children. So, when I enrolled into college, I was a non traditional student in the sense that I was on my own and I was in my late 20s when I enrolled. And I originally enrolled into the education department. And I love to joke because I'm a geek for this stuff. Who here would love to hear me make a joke that I enrolled into the education department for the first semester of my first year, but that I quickly joined the dark side and turned over to psychology for the rest of my college, my undergraduate career, I could say. Not brief career, just my undergraduate career. So yeah, I switched over to the dark side. I went to psychology because of one course. Y'all would like to hear this? Children with disabilities. That course, and it was an upper level course. I enrolled 2 weeks before courses were starting. I was going through stuff. At that point. I was like, fucking, my whole thing going to college was because I was so sick of having these awesome positions, but not getting the positions that I really wanted, a little higher tier that I was applying for, because I didn't have papers, certifications saying that I could do those jobs, even though I had all the experience. So that was my sole push to go to college, everyone. And I don't regret it. But I was frustrated. So I enrolled 2 weeks before college started, studied psychology. Things were really going well. Pandemic hit at the end. Was it the end of my third year or in the middle of my third year? Something like that. And so challenging, and I had to get my GPA back up there, and it was so challenging. But I learned so much. I had hands-on experience. I had research and experience and so many wonderful things. And one of the things I still just like right up there in my knowledge bank that I apply every single day, that I strive to always do better. Always, reasons to think before you speak, but specifically choosing my language, intentful, structured wording within what we say and write is so important. So I made a joke about, the the incomplete list of the early of women in an early history. I can't even remember the list I was making, but I'm making a joke about intentful language because it's so important when we talk about people. And I had a good example for this. Let me find that within my notes. Lots of notes. Oh, we did discuss that. Good. We can just quickly just mention this again. Good, we did discuss this. Specifically choosing our language. So going back to when I was referring to the women who mapped the universe and how I was specifically saying how these group of women are not known as that, but instead are known as Pickering's harem. It was a stereotypical, awful, biased, sexist label to apply to these women mathematicians and computer astronomers. They were amazing. And so when I was creating this presentation and writing my research, it's very specifically mentioning these are women who mapped the universe. It would be wonderful if we could advocate similarly to the European groups, the LGBTQ European groups who advocated for astronomy journals to allow people to change their names post their publications. So similarly, we should make an effort to go back into everything. Yes, everything. We have plenty of people willing to do the job. Hello. Sit me on a computer, give me a data job for a couple of hours every single day. I have done it before and I will do it again. I love those jobs. So to go back through our written history and just rephrase things, reword things, to not say Pickering's harem, not to, label them, not to use that as a title. We can still say they were back in their time, they were referred to as this sexist group, or excuse me, sexist name called Pickering's Harem for reasons of, and then lists those reasons. So that's, a part of academia and learning and reading and writing and critical thinking that becomes really important, is choosing our language. We have the option, we have the power to do that. And by doing that, we empower these women and we recognize them for what they did. They were the women who mapped the universe. That's what they did. When they were given this awful, awful term that is so, for so many reasons is awful. So that is one positive way we can affect change for gender diverse people and women. Just one. You just changed your mind. Great leaders cultivate great results. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. Thank you. I think that's so very true, because the word cultivate, it's not just making something and then, one and done or moving on. To cultivate something means you created something, you intentfully stay to see it prosper and grow, and also branch out to positively impact others. The word cultivate is an awesome word. I love that word. Speaking of language, you might encounter some word and language snobs, friends, everyone. We love words, by the way. We play that game a lot. And some of us are language nerds. I'm just a fan. I'm not, by any means, knowledgeable, instructions, or, educated on language. I just have a love and an affinity for, I have a value and understand its importance for sure, like any fandom that I have. But then we have friends here that do have studied language, whether it be multiple languages that they can speak or the history of it, linguistics, all of that jazz. I really love that stuff. Etymology, she shut that down real quick. No. Aww. Should have uplifted you and encouraged you to aspire to that, because talk about a field that's far and thin. Yeah, we need more people in language and all of that. Yes, being aware of facts and histories and discounting outdated and derogatory nomenclature are separate but equally important actions. Thank you. You wrapped up what I said so wonderfully, Key and I. Exactly. We can use certain language and words so long as we understand why we're using them, so much as it has a historical value and we can learn from it, And then the other one that I can offer you all today, another huge thing that I learned from my time obtaining an undergraduate degree in psychology is, and this comes from many elements in supporting racial diversity, supporting people of color, acknowledging racial history and discrimination of people of color. So it's not even an idea. The action, the desire and the commitment to call in others, not call out. I should have wrote not call out, not don't, because don't is like telling you what to do. But when people are called out on whatever the subject matter is, whether it be a serious political issue, whether it be talking about what you should have for lunch, and they just get so upset, people generally don't like being called out. Who likes being told they did something wrong? Some people have the emotional maturity to handle their emotions and be able to react in that moment in a mature way. There are a lot of people that don't have that capability, maybe just don't have that knowledge or, a little bit of, guidance on learning how to do that. I'm someone who learns either through reading about it or seeing others do about it. So I make mistakes, and to be called out is, in my mind, not a bad thing, but say I can handle it a little bit better if I'm called in. And I think this applies to so many other people, in that to call someone in means you're not pointing fingers. You're not saying you did this wrong. You could have done this better. It's asking them and inviting them to recognize how what they did or what they said affected others, but also just reminding them and supporting them and encouraging them that they're not alone in going through that experience, that it doesn't have to be an entirely shut down emotional experience, that instead calling in someone can allow them that room and opportunity to either have a conversation or, at the bare minimum, a realization of how they can do better next time. And that's through intentful language, choosing our language, but patience as well. And meeting people, whether it be halfway, part of the way, but meeting people to a point where conversations can be had. If you call out someone and you just directly say, you've done all these things incorrectly, it's not going to necessarily have the positive impact you'd like it to have, so much as calling in someone and letting them know that we're in this together and we can figure this out together, that this issue happened. This is how others feel about it, but it's not the end all be all. We need to talk about it and move forward. We can learn from this and do better. And, hopefully we not only become better individuals, but better, friends and work buddies and or, our family relationships and all of that stuff, for sure. I'm going to hydrate. Good to see you, Pizza Cat. Hey, DJ. I like the pop. Yep, 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 yep. We have a puppy cat pop for one of our animated emotes. I'm a huge fan of Bee and Puppy Cat. I love Puppy Cat. This is the last chapter of our presentation, everyone. Looking ahead. Let's uplift things. Let's get to a positive note. Let's get a little excited, maybe a little, I've been saying this phrase, a little jazzy. Thank you, Hello Kitty. A little jazzy. Nice way of saying, like, we can get a little loud. Now more than ever, we need to uplift women and all gender diverse people. I'm going to say it again. Now more than ever. I'm going to yell. This isn't yelling at you, but yelling for you. Now more than ever. More than ever, we need to uplift all marginalized genders and continue to advocate for equity and inclusion of everyone within gender diversity. And that's what UWU is for. That is exactly what UWU is for. Hello, Rastia. Hello. Welcome in. By uplifting gender diverse businesses, content creators, activists, writers, artists, charities, support groups, and here's some big ones coming up: medical health access, educational access, equal employment opportunities, fair housing, political justice, and honestly, that's the surface, okay? Maybe scratching it a little, but we're not beneath it. There's so much more. By uplifting the people in our communities, we can foster safer and healthier communities and our societies. And you all agree. That's what we need to do. It's what we're here for. Thank goodness for video games and streaming and the loves and the passions of our lives that bring us together. That can allow us to have the room and the confidence to make that happen, despite the challenges and adversities that we face within our world. So we really are reaching the end of our presentation. One more hydrate for sweet, because this part's going to get a little fun. I'm getting a little giggly, because I managed to do the thing. I told my mods, I was like, hopefully right in the end, I'll squeeze in this little bit about someone I want to talk about. We're here. Thank you for the hydrate. I appreciate that. I really need to hydrate. I'm gonna allude to why I'm getting a little giddy. Do we have any Trekkies in the house? And I'm gonna say Trekkies. I don't care that the newer generation doesn't say Trekkie anymore. I say Trekkie. I grew up in the 90s. I grew up with TNG. Do we have any Trekkies in the house? And a lurk. Or that's an unlurk. I like that. I thought it was the opposite Homer. I thought it was the one where he lurks into the bushes. This is the other one. Raise your hand. Or Vulcan salute. Vulcan salute, anyone? Vulcan salute? No, Ruth, I learned this like 2 years ago. I used to play this game, Star Trek Timelines. There's quite a few Trek games, but this one was like a computer one. It wasn't that big, but I enjoyed it. And just being part of the communities through that game and learning that, like, yeah, what do they call them now? Trekkers? They call themselves trekkers, which makes no sense to me because you say trekking and I'm like, oh, you're going for a hike? Anyways. We haven't even gotten to the part where I say, what inspires you to reach towards the stars, but also work towards gender equity and inclusion for all women and gender diversity? I learned this, not recently, and it's not officialized. It's not, it's not, it's not official, but yeah, trekkers, I know. This could be misinformation that I read online. This could be on my part. Let's admit that. Because I have the answer for you. I would love for anyone to throw out the names of people that inspire them, or maybe actions that they know of, whether they be like legislative change, whether they be experiences of themselves in their lives that, they got to experience positive, equitable, inclusive change, all of it, or maybe one of it, and maybe who or what, maybe why that meant so much to you. And maybe, if you don't mind me, here's my desire to be a fangirl, if you all don't mind. Here's my response for all of you, while you all think of your responses that I would love to read and hear. So for me, when I think of not just uplifting women, but when I think of the advancement of including all people for the betterment of technology and science and astronomy and pushing, I'm not going to say, I was going to say, words matter, pushing humankind forward beyond the scope of our solar system. We're so far from there. I think of Star Trek. Like many other things, let's just disclaimer, like many other things in our media and on TV and films, they were trying to do things, push the barriers, break restrictions, and do many wonderful things that today maybe we look back on and maybe they didn't achieve what we would consider today as positive, encouraging acts of representation. So they, many efforts to try. Star Trek was so inspiring. They really wanted to include all races, one race, within their TV show. It was so important to the creator of Trek that everyone have representation. And so they were inspirers for technology we have today. They kind of inspired their first flip phones and other technological devices that didn't exist but did after Trek came out. But one thing in the effort and essence of talking about women within astronomy and just uplifting women in general in human history, the original series is known for airing TVs. This is, intentful language. TV's first ever scripted interracial kiss. So the reason that's important that it was scripted is because that doesn't mean that it didn't necessarily just happen to happen during filming and then got okayed to be on aired. The difference is that this was scripted. There were many hands that passed off that script to many eyes that read that and approved that. That is a huge, phenomenal moment in TV history that they knew this was happening and they said, stamp of approval, go for it. And that kiss, it's funny being a Trekkie, watching documentaries, watching all the stuff on Trek. People, fans of that day, oh my gosh, it meant so much to people of color, to representing different cultures. It was phenomenal. It was well received. People loved it. There were criticisms, but not in the sense where those criticisms outweighed the love and just adoration and gratitude for having that representation on TV, but also having a Black actor star as a officer in a reoccurring role. So Black woman actress, leading star role that was a commanding officer on a ship. So yes, fictional ship, fictional command role, but when you're in the realm of TV and you're watching this is the first Black woman in a command role every single episode of the show. It was huge. So that's thanks to Nichelle Nichols. May she rest in peace. And thereafter, her career, she became an advocate for women in science and film, and she was Star Trek's first woman ambassador. What's pretty common in Trek is for not all, but a lot of the actors to carry on the kind of, I guess, prestige and just the fandom of the shows that they were in, and they kind of become ambassadors, not just for Trek, but they do really good works through, just being famous people. They get to, use that fame to just uplift others. So that really leads me, we're kind of getting to really to like the end of our stream. I cannot get enough. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed. Fangirl over here. Kate Mulgrew. Kate Mulgrew means so much to me. Now, outside of the stuff I want to mention, a Trek that you're reading right here and now, she had a very young career in acting. She enrolled into a very prestigious acting institution in New York at age 17. And her parents, rigid Irish Catholic family, very tough childhood, still supported her in that, and she proved that off. Like, she landed that first year into that university. She experienced really traumatic event that I'm not going to say on stream shortly after, and so she took some time and she got married, she divorced, and her acting career started really taking off, and she was just phenomenal. She still is phenomenal. You might know Orange is the New Black, so she plays a role there. This is long after Star Trek and all her other earlier works and stuff, but through Trek, she's going through a divorce, she's raising kids, she's advocating for women. And another amazing thing about Kate Mulgrew and being Captain Catherine M. Janeway on Star Trek Voyager, this is the first woman captain in TV history. The first woman captain in TV history for human history. Just amazing. So I have a quote there. The best thing was simply the privilege and the challenge of being able to take a shot at the first woman captain, transcending stereotypes that I was very familiar with. I was able to do that in front of millions of viewers. That was a remarkable experience, and it continues to resonate. So I chose a picture of her performing her role as Captain Catherine Janeway, who the M and the Catherine are named after her. She pretty much saved the day. There almost wasn't a Voyager. She saved the day. If anyone knows this story, it could have been Engage instead of Engage. So she saved the day, and I chose this picture because we all know Star Trek for their uniforms. We all know the red, yellow, and blue. We all know the uniforms, so we see that a lot in Trek. I love the episode where she has to fight these bad, awful giant germs. But anyways, the episode is her showing off her strength, her intelligence, working alone, being in combat, but also espionage mode. It's just like, you want that. You want a captain, this woman captain, whom she had to be both encouraging and gentle to a point, because the whole story is Voyager was sent off 70,000 light years from home. They were pretty much whisked away in episode 1, and they had 7 seasons, 7 years of getting back home. So yeah, it was a long ride. So she had to fulfill this role of like, I'm gonna get you home, we're family, we're a crew. But also, her as a woman actress needing to have those moments where she's like, I need to show my strength. I need to show I can, at the end of the day, do whatever's necessary. And she continued to do that all throughout the show. And I love her. I love her. That's what and who inspires me, are things, media content like Star Trek, people like Kate Mulgrew, so many others that do a lot of firsts. We talked about women today with a lot of firsts. First women with PhDs, first women with astronomer professorships, first women directing observatories. Just amazing firsts. The first Black woman to have the ever scripted interracial kiss in a leading science show. I mean, it's just it's so amazing. Oh, so amazing. And also to note, all the amazing gender diverse individuals who have also just supported and uplifted so many great works and contributions to our communities and societies. And I'm losing my voice. You can tell I'm losing my voice. We discussed earlier the reasons in which I did not include a wonderful, heartfelt, descriptive list of names and accomplishments of transgender, non-binary, and other gender diverse identifying individuals within these fields. And I thank you all for listening to me and having the patience and the support to discuss both the, highlights of women accomplishments and celebrating women achievements and resilience, but also acknowledging and advocating for better opportunities and equal opportunities for all marginalized genders. It's been a privilege. It really has, to provide this presentation. So last but certainly not least, let me hydrate. There we go. We need to do a very big thank you. A very big thank you. As just because we're at the end of our presentation, we actually still have over half an hour of my stream. I don't want to, rush our raid target to go live any earlier, unless I check Discord and see that they're live anytime. But there we go. I know, I do. Drink that water, sweet. Thank you, Key9. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. What's in? Oh, a ratata. Nice. Hi, Wiley. Cute little jumpy frog. Don't feel any need to apologize. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I know it's so crazy. We know when things are not our responsibility, but we still say sorry. It's that guilt that we can't make the change necessary happen, or the necessary change happen that we all want, so we apologize, even though we're not responsible for the oppressive society that we all live in. We're not responsible for, the archaic systems and laws in place that harm individuals. And the absolute bestest thing we can do is use our voices, use our platforms, doing what we're here doing now, all of us, in supporting each other, but also speaking up, standing up, and continue, seriously, the advocating for equity, inclusivity of gender diverse people, marginalized genders, is such a specific, um, what do we want to say? It's such a specific, I guess, societal element that we need to better, that we need to improve, in which many of us know how that would look, know what actions would be necessary, in which we all live under the same leadership that doesn't necessarily, one, allow us, nor two, make us feel safe to do so. So I think it's super amazing that we do have the spaces where we feel safe. They're not everywhere. And not all places are 100% foolproof, but that effort and, really strive to continue to be there for each other, that part, that's going to really make a huge difference. It really will. That desire and need to support others. Yeah. Wanting to help others. It's such a key humanistic trait that is crucial to human advancement. Just like technological advancement wouldn't happen without more gender diverse people involved, just like that. Yeah. Unless they're already celebrities. That too! That too, to be conscious of hosting a presentation on individuals, on people. These are their lives. These are their work, I stuck with people whom are widely publicized about, that have their names in many publications and articles and journals written about them, celebrating their work and honoring what they've done. So I can definitely do my part on that end. But to be conscious that I'm talking about people I don't know, I haven't had, a direct contact with their work, to be conscious of that is really important. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the biggest thing too. Going back to the European groups who pushed to have the astronomy journals allow the changing of names for anyone post publication. That was one of the arguments, Kenai. That was one of their arguments, that it for so many reasons, the name should be allowed to be changed without the marginalization or the biasisms of why. And that was one of the many arguments. It was really, yep. And that was one of the many counter arguments. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's so much work involved, and that's why we need people willing to do the work. We learn that in psychology too. Let me tell you, everyone, one of the first things they tell you in psychology, all of your professors are going to tell you, you're not changing the world. You are not changing the world. You almost get a little bit of that in education. But you definitely get thrown that right at the door when you're in seminars and stuff. And then from then on, you are absolutely encouraged and hopefully flourish within supporting people and all of that jazz. But we are very much told very, very realistically, this field is, I've said this word a lot, it fits, is daunting. It's troublesome. You can't learn about psychology without learning about human history. So there's that part of it. It's tough. It's so tough. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Fleur. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone being a part of this. Let me get to this. Thank you. Thank you to the entire team and members of the third annual Uplifting Women Unite Raid Train. Thank you all so much. I didn't finish. Oh my gosh. I meant to finish Lilyja's name. Oh no, there's a typo. Meant to include their full name. That's on me. I apologize. Thank you to them both, though. Lilyja and Megan for organizing the third annual year of Uplifting Women Unite Raid Train. Thank you. But as I said before, thank you to the train sitters who ensured each and every stream was running smoothly, that everybody was taken care of. I think it's been amazing. They're so wonderful, so just guiding and ever watchful. They're at the tower. They're at the towers, man in the gates. Thank you to every streamer who participated and provided us epic, heartfelt streams. And to the stream moderators who look after our communities. I said this earlier, for the moderators of us streamers who are like, all right, we're on board, give us the info, how, let us know what's going on. And you gotta love our mods. Love our mods. They always step up, or they drop silly, ridiculous twerking emotes. Both. They do both. I saw that in the corner of my eye, and I was like, I'm gonna keep looking at the camera as I say that. I love that emote. It's so cute. It's like the cutest little one. A little bouncy butt. It's so cute. And thank you to all of you. I don't mean to be corny. I don't mean to be cliche, but and we say this a lot as streamers, we really do, but it really matters. It really means a lot. Thank you to the friends and viewers. It really matters, you being here. Don't feel bad if you wanted to chat, if you wanted to say more, if you whatever it is. Don't feel bad. I said earlier, you're allowed to feel your emotions. I'm going to tell you, you're not allowed to feel bad on this part. I'm going to tell you that. You're not allowed to feel guilty on that part, okay? I experience it. I'm a hypocrite. I'm going to say that too. I'm a hypocrite. I experience lurker's guilt all the time. All the time. And just as I feel as I'm doing better and one friend stream or maybe two friend streams, there's other friends that I'm lurking more in, right? So it's a super common experience shared on Twitch. Don't let that lurker's guilt get to you, okay? Because every streamer will tell you, and they really mean it. We appreciate you being here. Seriously, thank you for being here. And the ones that, were able to lurk and collect a sweet. Thank you for collecting your daily sweet. As I said, we have many more dailies here normally, but for the sake of our wonderful, wonderful event, I minimized a lot of the redeems, and I changed the colors to the UWU logo. Psst. I did change the colors to the redeems to the UWU colors. I can't remember. Shouty to the person who created the logo. Seriously, we're seeing it on every single stream, and it's gorgeous. It fits with every stream. Some of us, me, I'm not gonna speak for others. I know they're out there, but I'm gonna only speak for me. Some of us care a little bit too much about aesthetics and vibes and all that jazz, and we want things to fit. And this logo, oh my gosh, it's so just lovely. And I want to say pretty, but it's beyond that. It's just so befitting and it's inviting. And I'm a plant girly. I love plants. I have lots of ivy in the house. I really want to do more with my garden this year. So, yeah, I love the vines on it. It's just perfect. It's lovely. And it reminds me of Earth all the same. It reminds me of the globe. So, yeah, it's good questions, Kina. I can't answer your questions. I want to say Polymoon. If I go back to Discord, all right, let's make the effort. We got the time. We got the time. Let's see. It says there somewhere. Commands and assets. Sorry to read that out loud. I shouldn't do that. Yeah, Polymoon. Yep. Yes. Commander, hi. Hello. Welcome in. Hello, lovely soul. Welcome in. We're actually done our presentation, but that's totally fine, sweetheart. How are you? Oh, that's funny. Speaking of women in astronomy, and Purple Wolf asked this earlier if I had seen the movie Hidden Figures. The Gaming League of Women, a lovely group, networking group I'm part of, they're having a movie night, and they're going to be watching Hidden Figures. I want to see it. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be very transparent and just say it right here. I am looking at Discord, and you all are so kind, so sweet, and it's not just you complimenting this presentation or the stream. I think what really matters to me most is that people feel like they've not only learned something, but they enjoyed learning about it. So there's two components: that they learned something that they could take with them, and they enjoyed learning about it. I'm a former teacher, several experiences within science and astronomy and outdoor education, and I'm realizing Sweet never got, hi Milali, Mealy, excuse me, I just met you yesterday. Hello, lovely stream, lovely music, hello. I just realized I never talked about that a negative experience I endured while teaching at the planetarium. I think that would be important to share. I would feel bad to, we just spoke about, really positive, awesome, enduring things, but I think this would be okay to share with you all. So we can use this little segue. Thank you for supporting. All of you here and now, you may not know. My mods knew. Our friends in our Discord knew. But you all are supporting my reintroduction in teaching astronomy. So thank you for uplifting me. I've missed it. It's a chapter of my life where a lot of other stuff was going on, and, it's a little troublesome. And so, emotionally troublesome. So to get back into this has been something I've been wanting to do, unsure of how to do it, because I'm not physically out there providing the education in astronomy that I want to provide. And hello, Twitch. So my goal is to start off with bi-monthly astronomy presentations, so every 2 months, and then move into monthly presentations and switch up the topics, because that's what I'm known for. That's what I did. That's what I excelled at. I had, in my planetarium days, a few staple shows, 2 of which I was required to teach. But then a few other shows I created myself, wrote, scripted, performed myself, that I had all the time, that I hosted all the time. And then I would have others that would come and go just to keep things fresh. And that was just when I was teaching, for those years, doing that job. I've just done so much. I do miss my teaching days. So you all are uplifting me. You're providing me the confidence and the encouragement and the support to do something I love. And I talked about a bunch of lovely human beings who did remarkable accomplishments for astronomy. Not anything I'll be doing of that nature, but to just also be able to spread my love and, education and knowledge of astronomy for others. That's honestly, it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful and lovely. So yes. I'm probably just going to leave it on this screen, actually. You're the best, Tolkien. Thank you, sweetheart. Yeah, shouty for Polymoon. Thank you for the logo. Like I said, it's fitting with everybody's stream. It's not just like, oh, it looks so lovely with Sweet stream. It's looking lovely with everybody's stream. Come on now. So I think we'll leave it here. I think ads are gonna roll in a moment. We're gonna let them roll in, because when they end, we're still going to have 10 minutes before I'm supposed to raid out. Okay, so just to give you a time frame, we're still 22 minutes out. So my story that I wanted to share, this is perfect, leading into the next train of thought. I just mentioned how create a different array of shows. 2 I had to, rate. They were more or less like your regular night sky shows. A couple I created that were permanent, and my Nebula one. Oh my gosh. So good. I miss it. Anyways, Get your story out, sweet. And then a few shows that were new, stick around for a couple months, and then would be replaced by something else new. I made a show. I can't remember the title. It was much more shorter than what I'm describing right now, but the show was all about craters on the moon named after women, because there's only like 27 of them or something like that, or maybe there's a very low number. I shouldn't give out statistics unless I know for sure, but there's a very low number of craters on the moon named after women versus all the craters on the moon named after men. So the show basically comprised of, planetariums. If you've been to one, we can do quite a bit of things with the technology. So we'd go visit a crater. I would discuss, information about the crater, maybe pull up some extra pictures other than being, on the moon in the planetarium. But then I'd pull up pictures. It's so cool, the technology. I'd pull up pictures and facts about the women and why the crater was named after them. Lovely show. Half an hour show. So you got to, pick and choose who you're going to talk about like this and wrap up and, have another show at some other point, maybe swap out the women. There was one point where a family of 4 stayed behind. And when anyone stays behind the planetarium, they got questions. They got questions, or they either want to tell you they loved something, usually the kids, or so rarely, a complaint. This ended up being like one of 2 complaints in my years teaching there. It was a father, mother, and 2 daughters. The 2 young daughters came up to me and we really loved your show. It was really fun. We want to come back. They were definitely tourists visiting. They were going to come back, but, still really sweet, told them to visit another planetarium anytime, The father comes up to me and he asks me, he doesn't say anything about the show, question right out of the gate. Why didn't I talk about any any craters named after men? And I had to very pleasantly address that the title of this, the point of this show is learning about craters on the moon named after women. And one of the points I make up front is that, in part because there are very few named after women, we should give appraisal and, celebrate this. And I'm sure I said it in a different, shorter way to this individual and being in front of his family. And he didn't like that answer. And he went on to suggest how I should do the show in the future and, what it would do for people to see men included in the show and for young kids. And unfortunately, in a lot of our positions and duties, I'm sure a lot of you can relate, where there are times in experiences where it's not appropriate to say, well, you're wrong. Thanks, bye. Was not able to do that. I would have liked. And I just simply reminded him, I think what I very much did was I kind of immediately followed up with that we have many other different shows they're welcome to see by other performers, and they are more than welcome to seek out other planetariums to visit. I think I left it at that. And they made on their way, but I will say I was so disheartened for the family in general, regardless of gender, regardless of how I saw them. I was just like, your kids just heard you putting down my show celebrating craters named after women. So that's just one experience. I mean, the majority of my experience was mostly positive. I did face a little, I would say, hardship being in my position, but I can't necessarily say that I faced discrimination. I never want to claim something that is not true. Definitely hardships, but yeah, I did my best with that individual. I did my best. Go see some other show by some other presenter if you don't like it. So that's all I wanted to share. All right, last round of ads are incoming. Take a break. Get some water or liquid, whatever liquid you want to drink. I like my mocha. I'm going to run to the restroom. Perfect timing for me. We'll get another battle royale going, another little stream avatars going. I rescued a rabbit last March. Now it's been a full year That's why our stream avatars are the Hobbit's our mascot. So that's the bunnies. May the best bunny win or other avatar. But again, self-care, because we're going to hang out for a couple more minutes, 10 minutes or so, and we're going to raid out to a really awesome stream. And we'll share more of our thank yous. I have more thank yous to get out. I went full Boston when I said water. Oh no! I live on the East Coast in the North. No doxing here, and nowhere near Boston, actually. That's, yeah. That maybe it's just like the whole state region, you know. Maybe we're just kind of like, it slides in there. Mountain folk, what do you want? What do you want? Let me take my break. We'll get a battle royale going. I'll see you right after the ads. Thank you, Silver. We'll do our proper thank yous when we get back, okay? I'm going to run to the restroom. My goodness. You all do the same. Take a break. I'll see you right after the ads, sweethearts. Thank you so much for being here, all of you. Are you sure about that, entity? Are you sure about that? So, for friends new to the channel, I recently, and finally, in my year and a half plus of streaming, split my audio. So lovely when you're a coworker and you want to stream your own damn music. So I finally got that all sorted out, and at the so what was last week was the first week, and at the end of the week, so yeah, just this past Friday, Saturday, I realized I don't have to change individual redeems, change their sounds and all of that for every co-working or gaming stream. Now that StreamerBot is its own source plugged into OBS, I can just mute StreamerBot. And I was like, a lifesaver. It's muted on your end, but not my end. So that's why I'm joking with Entity. Like, I heard that. I heard Tom Hanks yelling at what's-her-face that, there's no crying in baseball. That's what that command is. We have a lot of wonderful, cute commands, wonderful redeems that, understandably paused for today. Pause so we can enjoy the momentum. And stop it. There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball. Stop it. Yeah, League of Their Own. I hope you all heard the Raider sound. I swapped it over to lovely Mirabelle singing from Encanto. Man, when that movie came out. So, yeah, I'm an orphan of an orphan, everyone. There's so much to say that I've shared in the last year that we don't have time for today. So let me just say, the movies Brave and Encanto, oh my gosh, talk about something that I just, maybe can't relate to. I didn't live during those time periods. I don't have the same hardships as those women. But as far as representation of my heritage and my culture and, all of that, oh my gosh, I just, it's so lovely. I love Encanto so much. I think Brave would probably beat Encanto if it weren't for the freaking bears. I'm so scared of bears. Very few fears or phobias in my life. Bears are one of them. Talking about having it on a different channel for VODs. Oh, no. No, I hear all of it. Guess what? Chicken butt. Yeah, we love Arbor Garden. So, dear friends, I went to the restroom and I was like, what am I going to talk about for the last few minutes that we have before we wonderfully raid out to the next train stop? Two things, and I bet you I have time for both, but I want to start with the more important thing for anyone listening. I wanted to impart just a couple of ways as streamers, whether you identify as a woman, as non-binary, transgender, whatever you identify as, ways for you to keep safe. One thing I have been trying to let others know about, in particular women, is how to kind of keep your Discord safer when you're a Twitch streamer. And one thing I very specifically do is I don't advertise a link when I'm offline. I used to have panels that would say we have a Discord and the fun things, but I never had a link. Correction, I did way back early on. And we had an issue with that. Having a live link for anyone to join, having a link for anyone to join your Discord while you're offline can increase a little bit of risk. And we had an issue with someone absolutely banned and blocked from my Twitch channel get in there and made a few others uncomfortable with what they posted, and we saw it in the morning and we handled it. Ever since then, that was like a year ago too. Ever since then, no link on my channel. And I eventually just got rid of the panel in part to save space. Hey, Sealy. Okay, thank you, Halls. Train sitters. Thank you, Halls. By the way, I'm doing it right here and now. Halls, your stream. I said this already. Your stream, Halls. Oh, so sweet. I really look forward to visiting more often. It's good to see you, Seely. It's good to see you, sweetheart. No words today, Seely. I love that Seely joins in on words. You're such a sweetheart. How you doing? So getting back on my train of thought here. So don't have a panel advertising that I even have a Discord. That it's a given. The streamers have Discords. You ask about it. They got something in their chat for it. So that works for me. So I got rid of the panel to save space. The fortune of using StreamerBot is if I don't have StreamerBot open, I close it after every stream. The advantage of not having it open when I'm offline, people can't use the Discord command to join the link. So I really have to be live for anyone to join the Discord. So if someone joins, chances are maybe we might have seen them in chat if they're brand new to us. Otherwise, chances are a lot of friends join the Discord because they know the stream and we're like, yay, right? So there's a couple ways, don't let me say don't. Okay. If you are looking for more ways to protect your Discord, there we go. One way is to not have a link while you're offline. That can really help. Now, going further, what I do with my Discord link every single stream, it's not difficult. It's a couple of clicks. It's a couple of seconds. Copy and paste. What I do for every single stream is I make a new invite link, and going even further from that, I limit it to 5 uses and a 6-hour time elapse for the link to work. So, never happened, but if more than 5 people joined my Discord during a stream, well then I'd have to consciously send out another link after 5. So there's that. That's like an added measure of just being aware of what's going on with people joining your Discord. Then further, losing my train of thought here. Then going further, the 6-hour time lapse. Mods, when have I had a 6-hour stream? It's a really long time. So most is usually like 5.5 hours on Saturdays with Stardew. Otherwise, 3.5 hours for. So my Discord link will expire even though StreamerBot's already closed, so it's not going to send the link. I've seen people in chat try to pull it up. By the way, I'm not meaning to call out anyone in that. I'm just simply saying I've seen it, but they don't see anything received on their end, no invite link, because my StreamerBot is closed. So that 6 hours means that link is going to expire no matter what, whether I'm offline or I forgot to close StreamerBot. So I just wanted to impart just a couple of tips and tricks if you're just looking to keep your Discord a little bit safer. And one other note I have for that, I don't personally do this, and maybe I should talk to our wild moms, talking about things while live, go figure, shouldn't do that, but I was thinking about talking about this at the end of our stream today, and I know other Discords do this, and they require that your Discord name match your Twitch username. I think some Discord groups or even Discord bots have the capability to connect that already. Otherwise, having that as a rule allows the Discord owner and moderators and admins to say, well, actually, your name doesn't match your Twitch username. It's very different, or it's not identifying enough. We need to know your Twitch username, where you came from. And it just adds a measure of security to your Discord. So, yeah, I thought of that, in that I know other Discords require that you gotta have a matching name so we know who you are. So you're not some random person where we're like, who are you? So yeah, stay safe. Very nice. Thank you so much for saying that. I don't know if those would help any of you, if you want to consider one or all of those things. Like I said, I do the first 2, but I just thought of the third one. It'd be a conversation with the mods. It's work, because I know in my Discord not all names match to their usernames on Twitch, and just like changing names post-publication in astronomical journals, there's questions and decisions and all of that. And I think that's important to acknowledge. uplifting women, all marginalized genders, doing the hard work, asking the questions, doing the work necessary to bring us together, better understanding, and move us forward. And that's what we're all about here today, every one of us. So I see lots of notifications in my Discord. Let me check. Are we ready? Are we ready? Oh, wait, that's not even for, oh my gosh, I joined the Poke2 Discord bot group because it was broken. Anyone who uses Poke2 in their Discord, speaking of Discord, if your Poke2 wasn't working, it's starting to work back now. Their bot was down and they were really working on it, but now I got tons of pings. Those are not for UWU. Let's see. Okay, let's check. You love these tips? I'm so glad. I'm so glad. You know. Oh, good. Lovely. Lovely. How about really quick? I don't have time to do and my streamer credits. Okay, I split my audio. Then I was working on this for today, and you had all of you. I get to breathe after this. I get to breathe after this. So we're gonna arrive any moment. Let's get our raid message out. There we go. Oh wait, no, don't use that. Raid UWU, don't use that. There we go. Use that. There is our raid target. So my streamer credits are broken, but they are at the top of the list now. Back at the top of the list to fix. So I don't have streamer credits. Thank you to the follows. You need to start the raid, sweet. Thank you, sweethearts. Real quick, let me send out my schedule. I'm going to be live. I wanted to have time. We talked about the Discord stuff. I wanted a little bit of time to talk about the game I'm playing on Friday, Grimoire Grows. I was given a key for the full game. Free demo is out now. It's about forest, magical, witchy, seed vibes, all this bright, vibrant world. So wonderful, but a game very specifically uplifting women and all gender diversity. Grimoire Grows, everyone. So I'm going to be playing that. Do I even have... Is it Grimoire? Yeah, I even have a link for it. I love it. I got to play a beta test. So Friday and then Saturday, Hello Kitty and Stardew and more cozy, wonderful streams. So I need to copy and paste. Thank you. I needed the name to start the raid. And thank you. So mods have shouted out Oracle where we're going next. Let's get the raid started. There we go. I need to copy and paste the raid message again. Type. I'm a part-time dog nanny. I normally have to raid and run. However, I don't go in until 2 hours from now. So I got time to hang out. Thank you, every single person, to our new friends who joined the stream, to our old friends who've been here supporting us and specifically showed up today to support Uplifting Women Unite, this wonderful 3rd year running Raid Train event. Thank you to the leaders, the train sitters, the mods, all the streamers, viewers, and friends who have supported all of us in doing all of this. This is a team effort for all of us. You're all doing a wonderful job. Make sure you, I was just going to say some resties. Yes. Snack, hydrate, scratch your eyeballs a little bit, stretch, all of that jazz. And thank you, everyone. And the motto here, because we're all about self-care, but also being yourselves. Remember, be kind, stay wild. See ya.